Well, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck 2 Sim live stream today. It's the 5th of September 2019. We're coming from a bright and early United Kingdom. It's 9:05 local time. A very unusual time to stream, as I'll say on the social media feed, simply because my pilot's off at work today. I've got my flight back to my base at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it was the only window I had on my days off to get something out there. So what we are doing, we are in Eastern Europe. We'll be doing 2 flights today, in fact. We'll be going from Riga, which is in Latvia, to Tallinn in Estonia. It's very close. Flight time is just about 35-40 minutes or so. And then we're going to do kind of a 30-minute turnaround. I'll have a quick break. And then we'll fly back. So the whole stream should be about 2.5 hours long or so, just in time for me to get on my way to my base. Thank you, everyone that managed to make it anyway. Lots of the YouTube members here. We've got Peely UK, Timothy Waters, Steve Mayer, Tim Fraser, and who else have I missed? I think that's all the members here. Sorry. Neil1411, he's here as well. So good morning to you especially. Some new faces as well. We've got a few guys in the US who are awake. 405 here in Michigan. You're crazy, guys. This will be available post-stream to watch. But certainly there might be some guys. I had a few Australian guys, part of the east of obviously Europe, message me saying this stream time's perfect for us. So yeah, probably some new viewers perhaps who are able to make a live stream. So here we are in a pre-release version of the mod. It's just one ahead of the one available publicly. It's 3.3544. It just makes some changes to the reset button on EFIS. There have been some changes. There were some errors in there. Some slight tweaks here. If you put the exclamation mark ZIBO will explain all the changes that we've had put forward there. I did actually practice these sectors, and there were some very minor issues which I'll be able to highlight during the stream, and then ZIBO will in time be able to fix it. Secondly, I need to say a massive thanks to a couple of people actually. Firstly, JBrick, who has now incorporated the air stairs into the ZIBO mod. Unfortunately, they're not animated at this present time, so you'll be able to, you know, when they're out, they're aesthetically pleasing and very nice to see. Secondly, I need to say thank you to Tom Knudsen, who actually gave me some texture sets, so we can actually have our broadsword call sign and Flight Deck to Sim on the steps as well. So excellent PR for the airline. That's it, really. What else do I need to say? The scenery, yes, this is from Just Sim. It's latest version of this airport in Riga. Have I flown this airport? I think I shouldn't say if I have or not, because it might give my operator away. But it certainly looks very realistic. Look at it here. Anyway, they've got one long runway here, 1836, but the scenery is certainly very good. And you've got all these old Russian birds laying around there as well. When we go into Tallinn as well, we've got the add-on scenery from Dr. Zhuaitsky there as well, so it looks pretty good. So that's it. Yeah, we're fully cold and dark. We'll do the full setup. The weather's beautiful here. Clear skies in Tallinn, not too bad at all. And what am I actually going to do in Tallinn? We're going to fly a visual approach today. We're going to fly to a 4-mile final and kind of demonstrate how we do a visual approach. The weather should be okay by the time we get there. As I said, it's a very short flight. So that's it, really. Let's see if we can actually virtually climb the air stairs. Something like that. Not really. Oh, dear. There we go. Oh, and we are in. There we go. Fantastic. Right, let's get her all started up anyway. So up to the overhead panel. Battery on, GPU's on the bus. Pop on the electric hydraulic pumps, verify the landing gear lever is down, and we've got the 6 green lights as per usual here on the upper overhead panel too. Time for the fire warning test and extinguisher squib bottle test. We've got 3 discontinuity lights illuminating, fault test, fault APU detector in op. We've got the master caution, overheat detector light illuminate as well. Fire test. Again, 3 lights, wheel well fire illuminated, and the well fire master caution overheat detector, and the bell. Now, I did actually get a question in, what do you do if one of the loops is failed? So around each engine there's a couple of loops. Around the APU is a single loop, and if one of these lights don't illuminate during the test, we have to move this switch here to A and B, work out which loop is failed. We can actually dispatch there. Lee Palmer, do you fly for 2XL, hence the call sign? No comment on who I fly for, but I just use the call sign because absolutely awesome. Broadsword 01, I actually heard the call sign, used quite a few times in reality too. So yeah, that's the cargo fire tests all done. Back to the up overhead panel. Sorry, I haven't done the cargo fire test. I've already pre-fueled the aircraft, we'll discuss that later. Seatbelt signs on, push the attend button, igniters to right for the first sector. And order brake, usually do that later, but I'll put that to RTO now. Reset the fuel flow as well. Working our way down here, make sure the flap indicator is 0, matching the flaps. We can now do the cargo fire test. As soon as it's done, I'll see if there's any questions There we go, got the bell and the fire warning light illuminated correctly. Right, so for the mod, put VHF1 here. Now, actually, this is quite cool. I didn't realise this was the case. ZIBO is actually, if you're listening to the ATIS on box 2, I think you can now actually twiddle these knobs and it'll actually change the volume for you, which is pretty awesome. I've not actually tested that, but last stream we actually jumped into 200 because we were having problems with X-Plane 11. It had updated itself and it wasn't making the mod work correctly, so I couldn't actually demonstrate that. ZIBO said, oh, you can actually listen to the ATIS now on box 2, which is pretty cool. Right, so flight recorders tested, Mach warning, speed test, stall takes a bit of a delay, stall warning test is done. Put the box 3 on, VHF1, IRS to nav, 9 minutes for the alignment. And that is all it. Ah, yes, and then we need to start the boarding as well, which we do here. Start flight leg. There we go. Cool. So we're all ready to go. We are now doing the boarding. Nikita, why did you migrate to ZIBO from PMDG? PDMG is more detail, isn't it? Oh, that question is asked an awful lot. Well, I've answered that quite a few times. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually going to be doing, well, no one knows, so no one told anyone. The UK FS Expo is in Cosford next month. I don't think I'll be able to attend, but I was contacted by FS Elite, I think it is, and I've done a magazine interview. I've actually revealed my face in that as well, so you'll be able to see what I think between the ZIBO and PODG there. I'll go into more detail about that, but that's the first time I've announced that, but yeah, it'd be quite cool. But yeah, for me, X-Plane 11 is the better sim. The mod is the better handling there. The PMDG is obviously brilliant. Everything's fully programmed here, but I've seen the mod progress to something which kind of represents the aircraft anyway. So yeah, I just love X-Plane as well as much as the mod. If PMDG went to X-Plane, you'll probably be able to make a brilliant sim, but for me, the ZIBO mod is the go-to 737 sim now. Right, so we now need to do the pre-flight setup, so we'll select terrain. Now, I didn't get a chance because we're doing so many sectors to do the performance and load it up into the OPT, so I will do the performance manually myself. Just getting the weather here in Riga. QNH is 1012 and it's 18 degrees, so I'm going to set that here. And the MFRA, oh, the performance deleted itself unfortunately on the performance calculator. I think it's about 1150, but we'll set that properly later on. There we go, 1150 is set. Again, if you're new here, that's the acceleration heights in the event of an engine failure. Right, so PFD, ND, we'll pop on these lights a little bit here. Background, AFDS floodlights all turned up, and we can go straight into the FMC. Now, actually, I always do these slightly out of sequence, but let's have a look at the airport, where we're parked, and all that usual stuff. So here is Riga. It's a nice long runway here, 1836 as I mentioned. What's the actual total distance here? 3,200 metres, plenty long enough for 737. We're actually parked right in the corner here on stand 108. It's sort of like a remote stand, so we can actually self-position taxi off here. And we're going to take off from runway 18 today. The wind right now is coming in from the south at about 10 knots. We're going to taxi all the way Foxtrot. Is there a slightly better chart? There we go. Along Foxtrot. We'll actually do the performance figures from the Echo intersection, but we'll probably go full length today here, and then we'll brief the SID shortly. It's a very simple SID. We're going to be flying the SOCFA 6 Echo for runway 18, but yeah, that's essentially where we are as well. Captain Panna, where's the face reveal? It'll be in a magazine from FS Expo, for SS Elite, which will be as part of the FS Expo. I don't think you can be able to buy that. Remarkable Lee, not sure, want to see your face, it'll spoil the mental image. Right, I've got long blonde hair, 6'4". What I can imagine I look like. Fair enough. Gary Evans, why do I get overheat on the electric pumps, and how do I fix it? Your electric hydraulic pumps are overheating. Well, that's usually if you don't have any fuel. If you're low on fuel, your electric hydraulic pumps will overheat because they're cooled by the fuel. So that's the only issue here, unless you've got some sort of issue there. Steve Mayer, you're bailing out on us on Cosford. I'm doing my absolute best to get there. Unfortunately, I'm currently working, and you know I don't work anywhere near home. I'm about 400 miles away from Cosford, so yeah, we'll see. I'll see what I can do there. Right, so let's now get the FMC loaded. Let's just get rid of the charts. We need the flight plans. So Avitab, charts, OFP, and here it is, freshly updated off the press this morning. So go into this view, and we'll bring up the flight plan here. So here we are broadside 01, we are climbing to flight level 190, quite a low cruise level today. Not much fuel needed, just 4.4 tonnes, which is exactly what I've put on board. The weather's perfect in Tallinn, so I don't anticipate any issues there. Captain Panda face cam in the future streams, no, I won't be putting that there, because I quite like the outlay I have at the moment, but thank you nonetheless for suggesting it. Right, that's it, 4.4 tonnes for the fuel, and we have all the routing information here. Not much to put in the FMC. Yeah, that, I know what I forgot to do. I'll geographically show you where we are, but I'll do that in a second. Let's just get the FMC loaded first, guys. So, we are in Riga, which is Echo Victor Romeo Alpha. We're going to be using GPS left. We'll pop those position lights, position there. Tallinn is Echo Echo Tango November. And we'll put in our call sign as well, which is, of course, broadsword 01. Departure, we're going to be runway 18, and as I said already, we'll be flying the Sockford 6 Echo. And we just now need to connect all the routing. So from Sockford, it's just Mike 857 to Kemet, and then it's the arrival into Riga. Now, we'll be modifying this arrival later because we're going to be flying a visual approach there, but I'll kind of explain in this short sector how to do such things. Kemet. There we go. So, departure arrivals. We'll put the full arrival in for now anyway. It'll be ILS 26, Kemet 1 Lima, and I think we have the MOCX transition. Activate, execute, and I think they put a hold in there by default. Yeah, we'll get rid of the hold, so we'll just put FI26 up there, so it routes direct from MOCX to the Foxtrot India point. So there we go. I'm missing a bit of the chat here. Tip Water's brilliant idea. I'll scroll up a little bit, guys, to see what you've been chatting on about there. Iron Joey 124, how do I get the new nav radio panel? Yes, we have the multi-mode receiver panel here. It just ships with the default ZIBO mod now, so just make sure you select it in the options and you'll be able to have that there. That is fitted to all of kind of like the last generation 737 NGs, which is obviously this is the only system I think fits into the Max. So the last NGs had this installed, and we actually have a few of our NGs have the MMR. Which is quite a nice panel to have. It's something a little bit different anyway. So that's it. So the routing's in the FMC. Now, performance-wise, we're basing the load off, I think it was 150 passengers. We're doing that each sector. So if you have a look here, you can see our zero fuel weight is 57.4, and I put 16 tons of payload, which represents 150 passengers, a few of their bags. And that gives us that zero fuel weight of 57.4, which is quite light. Reserves, we need 2 tons. That's to get to Helsinki, which is just across the Gulf of Finland, I think. I can't remember exactly. North of Tallinn, if we'll go there without any problems. Cost index is 30, cruising at flight level 190. We'll execute that to the upper overhead panel. We'll punch 190 in here now. And the elevation is about 130 feet, I think, in Tallinn, so we'll set 150 there too. Oops, put that to steady. Back into the FMC. So, cruise, top of climb, wind. We'll punch all this information in because the FMC does take this into account now with the mob. It's all been programmed incorrectly. 223 at 36. And the ice deviation is plus 8 degrees. Temperature here in Riga, completely forgot. It was 19 degrees, so getting quite warm. Of course, in Riga right now, it's about 20 past 11 local time. 3 hours, or 2 hours ahead of the UK. /18. Now, if you just bear with me, what I'm going to do is punch all the figures into the OPT very quickly, which I've got right in front of me. I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. So I've selected the airport, runway 18 Echo intersection, dry runway. From the METAR, the wind is 170 at 11 knots. Temperature 18 degrees. I'm just punching that into the OPT. QNH is 1012. We're going to use flat 5 for departure, and the takeoff weight was 61.8. 61.8. And I'm calculating that now, chaps, and that's telling us that we could take a reduced 22k and assume temperature at 45 degrees Celsius. And that should give us an N1 of 87.4%. So if we put in here 45... We're looking for 87.4. The reason that's different is because the APU bleed's not on, so I'll demonstrate that here. APU's on the bus. Usually wait a minute, but we'll put the APU bleed on now. Looking for 87.4. We've got 87.4. There you go. The performance in the FMC matches the real onboard performance tool. So you put these figures in the real FMC, you get the same thrust as well. So that's all set. The V speeds we're looking for are 137, 137, and 141. Flat 5. And we have 137, 138, 141 there. So they're all within 1 knot of what I have on the onboard performance tool. And we've got 141 knots set on the MCP. There we go. Flight director's on. And climbing to 4,000 feet, which is the initial stop altitude for the SID. There we go. So FMC, I think, is all loaded. We executed the performance, so we'll put that to take off. Right, now we can jump onto the upper overhead panel. Yaw damper's on. No fuel in the centre tank, so we'll put the fuel pumps on. We do the crossfeed selector check on the first sector of the day. Make sure it goes from bright to dim, bright and then off. These are all on. That's all checked as well. We'll turn up the panel brightness here. Window heats can come on. Probe heats later on. Looking good. Trim air's on. Packs auto. You'll see the duct pressures decreasing as the packs take the load off the APU bleed. We set all this. Right, now let's have a look at this SID and set up the FMC accordingly. There really isn't much setting up because it's just a simple RNAV SID today. But here it is. It's going to be this SOCFA 6 Echo. It's a RNAV SID, so first contact report ATC, all your information. It's radar surveyed, so essentially saying don't cheat. And it says stop to climb to 4,000 feet, and it's SOCFA 6 Echoes, climb on 358 on track to SOCFA after the initial climb, which is climb on runway track 2.3 from Riga till we do a left turn. We'll intercept the radial tuck. That was actually some conventional navigation here. Radial 094 until 28 miles from Tuck. The VOR's all over here to the west of the airfield, and then we just make a left turn inbound to SOCFA. So we'll set the runway QDM and heading first. That's going to be 178. 178. There we go. We'll need the Riga VOR active as well as a backup. 112.05. So to use the you can see here, all you got to do is change this to VOR. There you go, and then make it active like so. There you go. It's very simple and easy to use. There we go. Riga's identified and the needles are swinging, and then we'll need what radius is 094 and 112.3. So we'll put 094 here, and then 112.3 active. 112.3. So we've got everything backed up if we lose the FMC to ensure that we've got conventional navigation. We're a little bit, the VOR's a little bit far away because on the ground we're not picking up the receiver, but as soon as we're airborne we should get the Tuck VOR. So that's it, straight ahead, 2.3 miles DME off the VOR. We'll then make a left turn until we're 28 miles off the 094 radial from Tuck. So we'll have that there and the distance, and then we just make I think it's a left turn. There's no guidance for the beacon to SOCFA. That's an RNAV point there, that's it. Sorry, I've been missing the chat here for quite a while. Aviax, this is Epic. I'm from Latvia. Well, very good morning to you. Well, good. Well, yeah, it's still good morning to you. Yes, 11 o'clock in the morning. Thank you very much for joining this stream. Right, so what else have I forgotten to do? FMC's all loaded. SID I've explained. The only thing was geographically. Show you where you are in relation to everything. So, how do I get to it? Habitat map. There we go. So here's Latvia, taking off the southerly runway. As I said, it'll be a 180. We're going to be going northbound here. I think this is called the Gulf of Latvia, or Gulf of Riga, sorry, this area here. Essentially following the coastline, crossing the border. And there's Tallinn, very, very short flight, so not far to go. And then in Europe, there we are. You've got Norway, Sweden, Finland up there. So yeah, geographically, that is where we are going there. Cool, so APU started. There's no need to get a better pushback here, because on a stand like this, you just start the engines, and you just make the right turn outbound like that. So what we'll do, we'll just get all the air stairs shut, and all that done accordingly. We can disconnect GPU, I think. Yes, APU's on the bus, so GPU disconnect, retract the air stairs. And then we need to go to doors, close, close, close. There we go. Good to go. Right. So, imagine we've got our engine clearance. So you simply get the clearance from ATC. Yes, you're cleared to SOCFA 6 Echo. Climb 4,000 feet. We'll give ourselves a random score. Let's give ourselves 2,000. Let's go 2019, which is the year it is. Excellent. Oh, yeah, you can't because 7's the highest number you can set on the transponder. Whoops. We'll be stuck in 2017. Right, so yes, we'll request engine start. So it'll be Riga ground, broadsword 01, stand 108, I think it was. Request engine start. Engine start's approved. So, packs off. Anti-collision light is on, which triggers the boarding to cease. Transponder to out off, parking brake is set. And that's it, we can just simply start the engine starts on the stand. Roster, where did you get the stairs? They now ship with the default ZIBO mod thanks to J-Brick there. Right, so that's it, we'll jump in now to the aircraft and we'll imagine everyone's secure. Put the switch to ground. Excellent, thank you very much. Oh, I've got a couple of aircraft there as well. Oh, I didn't disconnect the GPU for some reason, I thought I'd done that. Services, GPU disconnect, there we go. Excellent, there we go, starting engine number 2. Get rid of that rattly old diesel GPU, there we go. Right, max motoring end 2 there, so we just start leaving to idle detents. And, oh, I think we're on schedule, yes, I said 9:30 off block. I think I even put that in the channel description below, kind of like the scheduled flight times. Or certainly in the social media feeds. Right. Starter cut out, monitor engine number 2. 20%, 400 degrees, 60%, 300 kilos per hour. 2's all stable. We can now start engine number 1. Cool. We see a couple of other aircraft on VATSIM, so it'll be quite cool if they follow us in. Gary Evans, which is more used, heading or course? Well, you don't really compare the two. Heading is, where we set the aircraft nose, where the direction we're going. The course is where the aircraft is going. Generally, we don't use the course bars much to only to set ILSs. We don't really use it for conventional navigation so much. But I did demonstrate a lot in the 200 differences between heading and courses, which is worthwhile seeing. Daniel Gazzola, hello, have we done a DME arc? No, we've not done a DME arc. Actually, I want to jump into 200 and do a DME arc for you at some point. That'll be quite cool. Right, looks like that's all started correctly. Starter cut out, monitor engine number 1, all looking stable here. Perfect. So, generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, probe heat is on, anti-ice is off, air conditioning packs auto, engine bleed is on. That's all looking good. Flaps. We've got 5 selected, so 5 required, 5 selected, green light will show shortly. Push recall, and then just the flight controls, so full forward, full back, full left, centre, full right, centre. I just need to move my rudder pedals because they're on my printer. Rudders, full left, centre, full right, centre. Recall, and that's it. You would then read the before taxi checklist, which we'll imagine has been read. Right, so chart wise, let's get this up here. Avitab, airport, and just reminding you, here we are. We're on stand. Where is it? 108. So we can do a 180 degree turn onto the Foxtrot taxiway. Go north, and then we'll go full length for ourselves here. As I said, we've done the performance from Echo, but we'll just go full length today from Golf. Cool, so that's it. We'll leave the SID chart here for the departure. And we'll put on the turn off the taxi lights. Clear left, clear right. Thanks, Mr. Broadsword First Officer. Let's get on our way to Tallinn. So release parking brake, do a quick config check. There we go, no takeoff configuration, warning horn. And now we need to just do this kind of steep right turn, so all the way over on the tiller. Well, not quite all over the way, but just basically keep that sharp turn there. Now, if you're doing a turn like this in reality, you'd most likely have someone stood here just to make sure your wingtip is all clear of the terminal. We don't want to be bashing that as we make our way to the whole point there. So I've got a lot of comments in regarding can we have more external views and stuff. So yeah, I will do probably things like this, a few more little external views and stuff. Or obviously most of the time we'll be spending it in the flight deck because you obviously want to know what we're doing and things like that. Obviously I'm about to go on the grass and I got into the interior view quite quickly, but I'll try and show a little bit more obviously the aesthetic pleasure that is X-Plane 11 and the add-on scenery reuse, without obviously trying to keep the aircraft on the taxiway at all times. Fantastic. Right, 270 people watching. That's quite incredible, really, with the time of the day. So thank you very much for everyone that's taking their, certainly in Europe anyway, you're taking time out of your busy days and popping into the stream. And thank you to anyone that's joining live who probably wouldn't usually be able to otherwise. There we go. And for those of you who are really interested, we have Jack, who is currently comatose behind me. He's asleep. He's just had his breakfast. As I said, my partner's out at the moment, so no tea or coffee will be made during the stream for me, unfortunately. I'll have to go out there myself, which is a great shame. I've just got a new member coming in as well. I've just only turned the alerts muted box off there because I think we tried to keep it nice and flow during the streams. But yes, we have Gary Evans coming in as a member. Thank you very much for the membership. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for directly supporting me as well. You'll be invited to the members only Discord automatically, and I shall catch up with you later. Right, so I just realised something. I've done a big VATSIM no-no. I'm meant to be on 122.8. Uh-oh. We are online on the network. I don't anticipate any ATC. I haven't actually checked at all if there is any ATC here. No, there isn't. There we go. Lalo Towers, live weather on. Yes, we do have live weather. It is on. Right now, QNH is 1012, clear skies, wind is 17011. I can bring it up here. Yes, well, it says 1705, so yes, it is updating correctly. Claudia, hello Fly. They said, what are you using for shaders? It looks very good. I don't even know what a shader is. I certainly don't have it installed. It's just default. I keep a very simple setup. X-Plane 11, the ZIBO mod, active sky. I've got a texture set by, is it Mr. X or something, which changes the runway textures and stuff. That's it. If you put exclamation mark plugins, it'll show you everything I have installed, but that's it really. Oh look, oh gosh, my VATSIM etiquette. Oh dear, I've not said what I'm doing. EVRA traffic, taxi 1A, taxi 1A. Oh dear. There we go. I should think some of those people might be watching. TAT shows 8 degrees. I know ZIBO made some changes to this, but yeah, is it 8 degrees here? No, it's definitely not 8, it's 20 degrees, but I've definitely got active sky running here. I'm not sure why that's saying 8. There is a static air way of measuring it here. Whether that's programmed or not, I have no idea. Oh look, static air temperature is 8 degrees. What in the world? I have no idea. I'm very confident I've got active sky on there. But it's definitely not 8 degrees here. I'll have a look at that on the climb out, but I'm very, very confident I have it on. Just looking at the background. Yeah, it's connected. Active sky is on. It says here wind in Riga 1907. It doesn't give me the temperature. Weather control. Live weather is active. So yeah, we'll have a look on the climb out. If it looks like there's no wind there, we'll have a play with it there. Captain is now, QNH is now 1011. Thank you very much for that. We'll now set QNH of 1011 here. I forgot to set the standby altimeter. And yes, we'll just quickly do the before takeoff checklist as we are approaching the whole point here. So config is checked. Flaps, we have 5 green light. Stab trim is set for takeoff. We'll leave it as it is there. Takeoff briefing. Pax auto bleeds on. The V speeds are set for departure. We've got 37, 38, 41. We're flying the SOCFA 6 Echo. That's going to be climbing straight ahead 2.3 miles. Then making a left turn on the 094 radial from Tuk. And then we'll wait until we are 28 miles. Then we'll make a left turn inbound to SOCFA. Stop climb 4,000 feet on the SID. So as soon as we get airborne, we'll probably just set a higher cruise level. Get away on our way. Squawk is in, and no emergency turn. Any problems will climb straight ahead to the MSA, which is 3,000 feet. I'll imagine the cabin is secure. That's it, check's complete. Coming in, running YouTubers just roaming around. Yeah, sorry about that. Fantastic. Right, so anyway, let's do the before takeoff checklist completed there. So imagine we've got our takeoff clearance. Surrey is 170 at 13. So lights are on. Just adding a little bit of thrust here. LNAV, auto throttle, TAR rate, weather radar's on. There we go. So MCP is set, transponder TARA, strobe lights on, landing lights on. Checks are complete. We are cleared for takeoff. Right, and I just, oh, what do I do here? Oh, I've just set the parking brake accidentally instead of typing. There we go, enter. Right, EVRA traffic. Oh my goodness. Taking off, runway 18. There we go. Oh, I'm now a VATSIM pilot. Fantastic. There we go. So,
approaching.
Here we are, lining up in Riga, I have to say, the scenery looks fantastic. Really, really good. Well done to Justin there. Awesome. So we'll do a 90-degree lineup demonstration. So all the way out here, then hard over on the rudder. Again, there's no need to do this if you've done the performance from an intersection. There's no need. But if you've done the performance from where you're planning to depart, you're meant to line up, you know, with this kind of 90-degree angle here. Right. So we're pointing down the runway, all looking good. Fantastic, so we'll get on our way to Tallinn. I said flight time will be about 35 to 40 minutes. Right, stand the thrust levers up to 40%. That's all looking good and stabilised. Push toga, set takeoff thrust 87.4%. There we go. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Light forward pressure on the control column to keep the nose wheel on the runway, plenty of grip. 80 knots.
80 knots.
Checked. Release the forward pressure.
V1.
There's
rotate.
V1 and rotate. Nice smooth rotation. That's a little bit slow, so I'll pull back a little bit more. There we go.
Positive rate.
Positive rate of climb, gear up. And trim onto the flight directors. Ah, yes, this is the first thing I need to report to ZIBO. So, 400 feet, verify LNAV. Now, you'll notice, look, it's already commanding a left turn. That's not correct. We need to wait until we're 2.3 DME here. So, the turn is basically just telling us to turn left now. So, what we're going to do is just push heading select, maintain heading. We'll wait until we're 2.3 DME, and then we'll make that left turn inbound to that waypoint there. So, we can bug up now. I think it's NADP2 here. Just going to fly manually for a short while, so just wait until 2.3 miles, that way we are complying correctly with the SID. Very good, so if I push LNAV now, it should command the left turn. No, it won't let me select LNAV because we're not on the route, so we'll bring... well, I'll have to do it manually, it won't let me select the waypoint up there, so I'm going to turn heading manually onto that track. I can select flap 1. Just go for 094, so I'm manually turning here because it's just done the turn early. Hopefully it'll let me accept LNAV shortly. Oops, descending slowly, don't do that. Back onto the flight directors, we can select flaps up. And flying and manipulating the MCP, which is something you definitely don't do in the real aircraft. Right, onto the flight directors, we'll engage the autopilot. And we'll imagine we've got continuous climb, contacted radar, and they've told us to climb straight up to flight level 190, which is our cruise level. Now, why have I got the speed all the way back there? Level change, that's not correct. Right, let's go VNAV now. Flaps up, no light. VNAV. We can set standard. And passing 39, flight level 190 after takeoff checklist. Now, just before that, I'm just going to show you how we are navigating correctly. You see, look, we are bang on this 094 radial from Tuk. So if I come up here, select VOR, you can see, look, we're smash bang on this VR, so we are flying the SID correctly. And that's actually, to be fair, if the automation in the real aircraft is messing around and it's not doing correctly, you know, fly the aircraft as you should be, as per the SID. Use the mode, so I'm just using heading select to essentially fly manually. There's 28 miles from Tuk, so what I'm going to do is just bring SOC further to the top, which the aircraft's automatically done. Select LNAV, and that's it. We can now do the after takeoff checklist. So, air conditioning and pressurization. Diff pressure's 2.5, it's climbing quite nicely. Temperatures are set. Put this to off, gear off, and I want to brake to RTO. So after takeoff checklist, air conditioning and pressurization is set. Start switches are off, landing gears up and off, water brakes off, flaps up, lights. Altimeters verify standard set, and that's 59, flight level 190. And there we go, after takeoff checklist is complete. Lovely day here in Riga. I'm going to just double check that the weather is updating correctly. It is Cav okay here, to be fair, but I would expect some clouds. I might just reboot it. FO should have terrain on. You're quite right, actually. The pilot monitoring should have the terrain display, so we'll put that up there and give him the airports too. Right, so we'll just tidy up here because we overshot the turn, because it didn't seem to generate that quickly. We'll just select LNAV. So you can see there's always a few quirks here with the mod. You know, it's always some tinkering required. Some SIDs are quite unique the way they're built. and sometimes aircraft in flight simulators, they have issue reading the SID as the way it's transcripted from Navigraph, and sometimes have that issue in real life. Sometimes there can be discontinuities with real SID, so you have to modify the FMC in some way, or perhaps use the heading stack. Oh, I forgot the timer. Oh, triggered. So all we've got to do, guys, we'll stop the timer now. I hate doing that in reality too, and just make sure that we add about 3 minutes to whatever the timer is. That's a noob error. Excuse me, just having a drink. There we go. Right, I think what I'm going to do is turn active sky off and on again, see if that generates any weather there. Got a donation coming in from Martin Scott, thank you very much. After trying the ZIBO mod, you quickly realise and appreciate why there's 2 pilots in a real 737. Love your streams. Yeah, quite challenging, always flying multi-crew aircraft in a desktop simulator on your own, especially when it comes to hand flying and visual manoeuvring. But yes, thank you very much for highlighting your comment via donation. Thank you very much for that. Right, let's do the pre-cruise check. So, climbing up to 190, fuel 4 pumps. We can now turn all the lights off. APU is off. Pressurization now 4.5. Temperatures are set. We'll release the passengers, release the crew as well. We should have done that first. Recall, that's it. The pre-cruise checks are complete. Right, I'm just going to reboot Active Sky because I don't think that is working correctly. Yes, turn off Active Sky and reopen it. And hopefully we'll have some sort... Yeah, oh, I think it was working, look, because the aircraft just jerked around as I turned it off. We'll turn it back on again. So you can see this climb rate, 4,000-5,000 feet per minute, and that's because the wind's changed in the simulator. New member coming in, we've got the Luxius. Thank you very much for your membership. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, definitely weather being injected now. Look at the whole aircraft jerk around as we update that. And now we're climbing up to 190. But sorry, thank you very much for the membership there. Welcome to the channel. You'll be automatically invited to the members only Discord, and I'll catch up with you later on in the stream. Right, so there we go. Weather's back in. That's definitely working correctly. I'll just put the flight plan in manually later as well, but it is clear skies at the moment in Riga, so that is accurate, and it looks like we are having some clouds drawn now in this direction. And there we go, leaving Riga. We'll be back here in about a couple of hours, hour and 45 minutes I'd say. And here we are approaching the Gulf of Riga as we travel northbound. There we go. Perfect. Trying to find the airport. Where's the airport? There it is. There we go. Flight simmer, no strobe lights. Strobes are definitely on. There we go, strobe and steady. Andrew Grant, I found that Active Sky can be a bit delayed a lot of the time, often by a few hours. That could be the case. That could be why it's still said 8 degrees Celsius. Probably it was the temperature from earlier. Not 100% sure why it said that. New member as well coming in, another one, thank you very much. Bilbo Baggins from the Shire has just joined as a member, thank you very much. Obviously you haven't got much to do since you've completed the Fellowship of the Ring. Thank you very much and welcome to the channel. I'll catch up with you later on the members only Discord. Right, approaching 2 to go. At this point we begin to lower our rate of climb. As I've mentioned many times before, this is to prevent a spurious TARA if there's traffic above. Isolation valve is on. Oh my goodness me, very good. Yes, that should be auto. Very good. That's why we do checks, guys. Being open, it won't make much of a difference. It'll just providing both packs with their air from each system. But yeah, very, very good. You know, I never do checks in my sim. I should do, because I haven't got another guy to read them. I only complete the flow. But the checklist would have ensured that I correctly configured there. But very well spotted to ammo relics there. You win your first officer prize today. Right, again, yeah, should lower that to 1,000 feet per minute. There we go. Oh, we'll out. Oh, what's that saying? I want out hold. Hold on. We'll go back to VNAV now as we're at our cruise level there. Right, so yeah, very close to top of descent already. As I said, it's a very short sector. So, what is it now? 9:10. It's going to be about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to crack on with the setup. We're going to set up for a visual approach. We're going to manipulate the FMC to fly to a 4-mile final, as it is the sort of day where you could do a visual approach. And this is not taking into account any noise restrictions in Tallinn that could exist. I'm not 100% sure, but obviously in the simulator that's not an issue. And we're flying the coastline of Latvia here, then going into Estonia. The border will be crossed very shortly. Right, so into the FMC descent page. let's get rid of all the charts first for here. Now we're going to set up all the frequencies for the ILS as a kind of like a backup, but we are going to be flying the visual approach today. So Tallinn next, and we'll open up the charts. So the star will initially begin to fly. It's going to be, as I switch my charts over, the Kemet 1 Lima. Kemet 1 Lima, there we go. And we're going to be flying, we'll select approach, select the ILS chart. We're not going to fly an ILS, but we will set everything there. Is that an aircraft carrier? Awesome. Very, very good. We should just divert and land on that, guys. No, not today. Probably on a different stream. That's pretty cool. And then airport. We'll just select the airport charts. Let's go for airport parking and information. There we go. And then the parking stands one as well. Cool. So that's all selected. Charts. Right, now we'll jump into the FMC. So 250 below 100. The FMC always defaults to 240. We just change it to 250. You should be able to just put that in, and you should change it. But you have to put the whole thing in at the moment in the mod. Forecast winds. Again, these are simulated accurately now. The ZIBO's done some work to put a basic algorithm in to take these winds into account. So all we're going to do is put in the 150 winds, 100 winds. And what we'll also do is put in the wind at the airport as it's available here. So we'll put in 10, which will be 1,000 feet. Just get the weather for Tallinn as well. So 200 is 220 at 40. And this will ensure that VNAVs gives us the the absolute best guidance possible. No, sorry, 218 at 33. I'm so used to reading the other winds. 100 is going to be 214 at 30. All I'm going to do here at 1,000 feet is put the wind in at Tallinn, which is 170 at 11. There we go. QNH in Tallinn right now is 1009. So we'll set that as well. There we go. And we can preset that on the PFD2. Again, apologies if you're asking questions on the chat. I'd just like to crack on with this, and then I'll get back to you with what very limited time we have. I'm actually planning on doing a longer flight soon for the next stream, maybe about 2.5 to 3 hours, to give you guys a bit of an opportunity in the cruise to come back with some questions, because most of the flights I've done recently are quite short, quite intensive sectors. Right, we'll now put in our fixed rings into the FMC, which we still use for situational awareness. So runway 26 we're landing on. 10, 4, and we are cruising at 190, so it's 20, 40, 60, 57, so that's 3 times our height, which gives us a rough idea of where the top of climb should be. Right, so for the ILS, we've got 1093 and 261, so we can tune that now. 1093. Oops, change this to ILS. Oh, we've got GLS approaches as well, which I need to demonstrate at some point. But it's not much to it, really. It's just the same as an ILS as far as a pilot is, as far as we're concerned. Airport, ILS, sorry, Tallinn VR, that's what I wanted. 112.2. So I'll put that on standby. 12.2, 12.2. There we go. And the courses, I've already forgotten, 262. Now, we're flying a visual, but it's always worthwhile if there is an approach aid there to use. Set it up as a raw data backup. You've still got the ILS to tune, but we're not going to select approach. We're going to fly a visual approach using LNAV and VNAV, which is essentially how we fly them in real life. And it's just manipulate the FMC to take us to a 4-mile final. For a visual approach, you need to be in sight of the runway and terrain. You can do them at night time. I think you're playing with devil's advocate though, doing a visual approach at night. I'd never choose to really do that unless I had absolutely no choice. But you can self-position the aircraft below the MSA as long as you're visual with the terrain. At night time when we're flying, we can't self-position below the MSA. So you see here the MSA, where is it here? We've got different charts here. So it's quite low MSA here, but if you were, say, at 2,000 feet at night time, you can't self-position. Now, if you're at 3,000 feet, you can, if you're within 25 miles, because you're above the MSA. But again, it's easy to do. So when we say self-position, you can do it so many different ways. You can use heading select, you can use LNAV, route to a waypoint. And what we're going to do, we're going to route direct to this 4-mile waypoint here onto a 90-degree offset. We're going to configure probably gear down flat 15 before return and then make a left turn here. And it's just a way of considerably shortening the track miles that you fly there. Now to do that, well, imagine that we've negotiated with Tallinn approach radar. And it's very quiet, and they've said, okay, yeah, visual approach shouldn't be an issue, and they can often you can take big shortcuts on start. So what we're going to do, we're going to route from Tango November 606 here, direct to that 4-mile waypoint, and that's essentially, if it was very quiet, there was no issue with noise, there was no issue with AC, it would be a lot, it wouldn't be an issue to negotiate. We often fly quite a few visual approaches into some of our destinations, they're quite quiet. And you can save a huge amount of track miles there. So what we're going to do is go from Tango November 606 direct to this 4-mile waypoint here on the ILS, which is the India Lima Kilo. So we'll jump into the FMC. There's the Tango November. What was it? It was 606 596, wasn't it? I've forgotten already. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong flipping waypoint. There it is, Tango November 595, not 606, wrong flipping start. Duh. So we're going to route direct from here to the 4-mile final, so 595. Tango November 595, there it is. Direct to, I think it's the FI26 point. Let's do that. And execute. Out constraint vector. What does that mean? 2,200. That must be to do with the missed approach. Yeah, not an issue for us there. So that's it. We've manipulated the FMC to allow for that visual approach. Again, if they allow you to do that, that's fine. Obviously, you might not be able to get a clearance for a visual approach as early as this, so you probably keep the full arrival in and then just update when they say, yeah, broadsword 01, route direct to a 4-mile final there. And you can just double check where that waypoint is on the approach. Just to make sure it is around 4 miles. Commit. Tango November 596. Oh, well, no, it's not quite at 4 miles. So what I'm going to actually do, we'll do something slightly different. I'm going to... I forgot I was going to demonstrate this anyway. So I'm going to go arrival. Now, I'm going to deselect the ILS-26. Now, when you select an approach, you'll always have the runway list here. So what you need to do is just select runway 26, and then you'll generate a runway extension point and a flight path angle. So what I'm going to do is manually make a waypoint 4 miles away, 3-degree glide path angle, execute, and then after Tango November 596 we're just going to go right direct to RX26 and execute. It's very important to make sure that's hard. It's generated hard altitude already, but there you go, you can see now there, well, I've created this waypoint manually, basically. So yeah, ATR 371, to answer your question, that's a 6.2. Sorry, I actually thought the waypoint in the FMC had generated a 4-mile waypoint. As it hadn't, it was 6.2. I've made one manually there. So we'll imagine that's been approved. We're asked Tallinn approach. Can we fly a visual? Look at it outside. It's a lovely approach. Oh yes, broadside 0 on your number 1. After, please fly the arrival, the Kemet 1 Lima until Tango November 596, then you can route to a 4-mile final, which would be a typical clearance you can possibly get there. And look at that, that's good timing. We're now ready for the descent into Tallinn. I hope you found that interesting anyway. So that's sort of how we'd set up for a visual approach. We've got the ILS tune. The only thing I haven't set is the minima. Now, for a visual approach, there isn't a minima. There's no published approach. Now, as an SOP, what we do, we take the aerodrome elevation, and we add 500 feet to that, and that acts as our kind of stabilisation point. So what we're going to do is take the elevation plus 500 and set 635 as the minima. They're not minima, you know, you're visual already, but it's something to set so you have a call out from the aircraft, and we still have have to be fully stabilised here by this point there. Right, that's it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, it made some sense. You'll be able to practice visual approach in the future. I didn't really have too much time to go much more detail, but yeah, there you go. That's essentially it. As part of the philosophy at our airline, we can't just, we can't brief an ILS and then it's, at 15,000 feet. If they say, do you want a visual approach, we can't just do it. We have to brief it, and we have to brief, go into detail about what modes we're going to use. Are we going to use the FMC? How we're going to manipulate the FMC? We have to make changes if the temperature's below 0 degrees for cold temperature errors. We talk about how we're going to configure. But that's essentially it. We're going to fly part of that's arrival till 596. When we just before RX26, which is a 4-mile final, we'll make sure we gear down flat 15, so we'll slow the aircraft down accordingly. And you just use LNAV and VNAV to manipulate and manage that descent. It's the safest option. So that's it. That is what a visual approach is. Cool. Kim Brendrick, to be stable 4 miles out instead of the middle of the tent. Well, 4 miles is just a configuration point. It's not the stabilised approach point. You want to be pretty stable. But 500 feet in VMC is the point where you need to be fully stable there. Isaac, the 737 doesn't allow you to force a waypoint to become an overfly type. That's a really good question. I don't think you can change it to an overtype. Now, all the different waypoints are programmed as overflies, flybys accordingly, but if you route direct to a waypoint, that's a really good question. I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. Adelaide Aviation, are you using OBS for the stream? Yes, OBS Streamlabs there. Seatbelt sign can already come on. What an intense flight this is. We've been airborne only 15 plus a few minutes. 18 minutes I think it was, because we're late starting the time there. Andrea Ferrani, hi Captain, I saw some pictures of PFDs in the cruise yesterday and noticed that the min manoeuvre speed is quite high at high altitude, so I was wondering how it's calculated and when it depends on. Yes, I don't think we have the min manoeuvre speeds in the cruise yet there. That's based off something called the 1.3G manoeuvre margin, or which you can manoeuvre the aircraft to pull 1.3G. If you go beyond that, you might get some sort of buffeting or some issues with that, so you know, we don't want to be flying in a manoeuvre margins ideally. You could, but you certainly don't want to there. So VNAV's doing a good job so far. It's a little bit low on target speed, so I might just add a little bit of thrust to manage that. Sometimes happens in reality too, but certainly ZIBO's gone to some effort to make sure the winds that you plug into the mod, you know, he's made some sort of idle path calculation that works quite well. Obviously there's so many things that can affect that, you know, the weight of the aircraft, your target speed, the wind being a big factor as well, but ZIBO's done a pretty decent job in building an idle path model for you. Sim2 Haven, Captain, do we have auto land on the ZIBO? You do. You have land 3, so a fail operational auto land system. I've practiced it a couple of times. It certainly needed tweaking. Last time we did that was we flew into a live stream on where did we go? I think it was to Iceland from the Faroe Islands, and we ran into some issues there. But I've not tested it recently. We're going to do a visual here, and I might just do a simple ILS back into Riga, just so I have a bit more time to chat to you guys as we're doing the visual now. Matt Surley, is there a feeling of vertigo when cruising on a moonless night with no visual reference? Not really, because you're trained to be you're trained to fly in IMC conditions. So we fly IFR all the time. You can probably hear Jack, hello buddy, shaking his head there. You know, we're trained to fly in IMC, so we're trained to fly without any visual reference outside. So not really, don't get any issues from that. Tim Fraser, landing rate's going to be minus 133, getting your early calculations in there. You've already won the bet, and I did owe you that money, but Tim, if anyone wants to know, he's a long-term member, very much supports my channel quite a lot. And I sent him a mug. I sent him an official Flight Deck to Sim mug, because I lost a bet with him regarding one of my landing rates in a couple of streams ago. Yashish Muffin, do you use Jepson charts? Yes, for the sim here, I am using Jepson charts for my Navigraph subscription. However, in reality, we use a different company for the airline I work for, different charts. Keith, hi Flight Sim, you should do a video in the Cessna or other general aviation aircraft. Yes, I agree. Actually, you won't believe what aircraft I bought yesterday for a bit of fun. I bought the new Huey helicopter, which I think could be fun for a bit of a stream. I need to set up my joystick for that, because it took me 20 minutes to get the bloody thing started and I crashed it instantly. But yeah, we definitely some Cessna. I think we might jump into a Seneca at some point. That's the aircraft I did my instrument rating in 10 years ago now, unbelievably, to do some needle flying there. So yeah, there's plenty more we can do there. Excuse me, I've got a little croak in my throat, so excuse me if I cough away there. Right, so passing 100 to 80, we can do the post-cruise checks now. So 4 bumps on, lights, logos on, APUs off, pressurization 4.5 now, temperatures are set, check the seatbelts on, recall, there we go, post-cruise checks are complete. And there we go. So yes, as I said, we'll probably be talking to Tallinn approach now, and they'll say yes, after Tango November 596, route direct to 4 mile final, call on base leg, you know, something like that. So that's a typical clearance you could get for the visual. You wouldn't just manipulate the FMC like this without requesting it. You know, you'd be cleared on the star initially. Kim, helicopter stream would be awesome. Yes, I know you bought the Huey yesterday as well. You're mentioning it. It could be a good laugh. Hirish Dasgupta. Apologies if I mispronounced that completely. How old are you? Late 20s. Soon approaching early 30s. That's as much information as I can give. Right, anyway, well imagine we've been told route direct to a 4 mile final then, and we'll descend down to 4,000 feet, QNH is 1009. So you'll probably be still under radar control, and once we've been cleared visual approach, it's our job to manipulate the MCP, so we'd select, I'll probably set 700 feet, or 1,400 feet, which is the RNAV waypoint there, and descend accordingly. So QNH is set 1009, we're passing 8,200 for 4,000 feet, and the standby altimeter is now set. So this is another little bug with the mod. The aircraft will decel. We've got 155 knots, but we've lost a little decel bug on the ND. We had the decel for the 250 below 100. Now, as soon as you only have one decel at a time, once you pass that decel, the next decel should generate, so it's not appearing on the ND. But you will see that the target speed bug from 250 to the upspeed very soon. Again, it should be at around this point here. Just keep an eye on that there. Kim, you can't keep saying late 20s indefinitely. I won't be able to at least a few years' time, let's say. Sooner than you think. Deep Penny, hi Captain, I finally caught you live. Love your videos in this kind. Thanks from Australia. Well, good day to you, I think you should say. Thank you very much for popping in. We've got so many places and people. I've got so many requests. I get on an average week 15, 20 requests, fly here, fly there. And I must apologise if you're outside of Europe. One of the reasons I stick to Europe is A, I know the airspace quite well and I know what I'm doing here. Secondly, I only have Ortho 4XP for Europe, so I can just fire up the sim anywhere and just go, and we have it. I don't have it anywhere else, and it'll take me quite some time to download those areas. I don't have much space left on my dedicated external drive for Ortho. It's about 200 gigabytes, but I put quite a bit of extra stuff there. But yeah, we'll see, guys, we'll see. Tobias Loss, is noise abatement departure procedure different from airport to airport? Yes, by far the most common NADP is 2, though, noise abatement departure procedure 2, in Europe, that is. So we've got the ILS tuned. Why the DME says 0, I have absolutely no idea. It was the India Lima Kilo, wasn't it? Yes, India Lima Kilo 1093, and it has DME, I'm quite sure it does. Yeah, DME here is based off India Lima Kilo, so I have no idea at all why the DME says 0. Like I said, we're just using LNAV and VNAV to fly this approach here. Now hopefully the mod will start slowing down at some point. Well, imagine at this point now that Tallinn approach has handed us over tower, and they said, Broadtail 01, you are cleared visual approach. Call turning final. It's as simple as that. So now we have to set something on the MCP. So if we're cleared visual approach, what we can do, we'll set 1,400 feet initially, and we'll treat this as like our final approach point there. You can see how the mod's now correctly reduced to the upspeed. We're just missing that decel point there on the ND, which hopefully, you know, ZIBO. I often watch the streams as it is, but I often try, if I remember, to feedback what happened in the stream anyway. Excellent, and that's it. We just select the flaps accordingly, and that's the beauty of a modern aircraft like the NG. I say modern, it's not modern, but modern having an FMC with LNAV and VNAV, you just it can build a profile for you, and that's how we fly visual approaches these days. Right, so we can now select flap 1. We'll leave it in VNAV path for now, so the target speed will automatically update to the flap selected. And that's it, guys. Missed approaches are visual approaches. There aren't any published missed approaches, so we're just going to fly, if we have to go around the missed approach based off the ILS there. Fuel-wise, we've got 3 tons on board, which is good. We need, I think it was 2.5 tons to get to Helsinki, so you have enough for a go around. Probably a second approach before going to Helsinki, but you have to certainly assess the fuel after the go around to see why you went around. But if it was something trivial, you'd probably stick to Tallinn. There we go. So everything's looking good. to select flap 5 now. Oh, actually, can open the speed window. So the path should start descending a little steeper now as it targets 1400 feet at this waypoint. There's the banana coming in. There we go. So far, so good. VNAV looks to be on target for the approach. We'll say that when we turn final. We see we're too high. But that looks good. The green banana, as we like to call it. I think what's the official name for this? When we're teaching the type rating, they didn't like us referring to this as the green banana, but that's what everyone calls it. It's this guy. Sorry if you don't know. This point is where you're going to reach your cleared altitude. So you see if I manipulate the MCP, that's where you're going to reach 1400 feet there. So we're looking good, as I said. Approach checklist is done. We're not really using any nav aids, but we do have the ILS tuned, albeit with a funny DME. Oh, crikey. Very well done there, Metalhead Vlogs. We didn't even discuss the landing performance because it was such a short, intensive flight there. So landing runway, here it is, runway 26. It's very long, 3,500 metres. We're going to plan to vacate here at Echo. That's around 2,500 metres. I can tell you what will work quite nicely is flap 30 order brake 2. We never really guesstimate it. We always calculate the takeoff performance there. There's no point deducting the fuel now because it's going to be pretty much the same. Very well done there. Excellent work to those guys who checked that. There we go. And if we look out the window, there is... Oh no, that's not it. That's some sort of quarry. There it is. Tallinn Airport, so we can see the runway. And this is payway scenery by Dr. Zhuwaiski. Sorry if I mispronounced that. All of my payway scenery I use in my streams are always in the video description below. Right, looking good. We can now select 700 feet. Just to make sure the aircraft doesn't level off. VNAV, path speed intervent. Oh my VATSIM etiquette again is out the window. ETN traffic. Visual approach. Turning. 4 mile final. There we go. Pull the danger. Have you flown to Greece, Captain? Yes, I have. I'm actually going to Corfu this week. I'm going to Valencia, I think, Corfu, and Palma de Mallorca. But yes, you'll keep an eye on my Instagram feeds. Right, gear down. Flap 15. Match speed. Landing checklist to flaps. So start switches continuous. Recall checked, speed brake, arm green lights, landing gear down 3 green, order brake is set to 2, just holding on the landing flap as we turn on to this final. The mod is just brilliant, guys. I just cannot stress how good it is now. Select the landing flap, which is flap 30. No idea where we have no DME there. Set the missed approach altitude, which was 2,200 feet. There we go. So flaps, we've got 30 green lights are on, check's complete, and that's it. That's how we fly visual approach. Pretty simple, guys, pretty simple on an approach like this. Right, so that's it. We can now disconnect everything. And you can leave the flight directors on, but I like to get rid of them. Glide slope, what are you on about? I'm bang on the glide slope.
Approaching.
Something's wrong with the ILS here. I don't know if that's explained or the ZIBO mod, but it's saying 0 DME. I'm on the glide slope, I think. But yeah, I'm not sure there. Now, yeah, as I said, we don't usually recycle the flight directors because you've got all the guidance there. I'm completely ignoring the scales on the PFD. They're completely wrong. So 2 reds, 2 whites. Continue. That's the stabilised approach point for a visual approach. Speeds are okay, tiny bit low, so just adding a bit of thrust. The crosswinds coming from the left. You can see on the ND. Look, winds from the south 13 knots. So we'll use a little bit of right rudder to decrab during the flare. A little bit left of centre line here. Looking okay. Any bath bags on board? I just saw that in the corner of my eye. You need them for my approaches and landings. And now my dog's nudging me. This is go away, Jack. Good boy.
50, 40, 30.
Right, check,
1,
close,
10.
hold the attitude. Oh, this is looking buttery. Oh, not bad, I think. So, speed brakes up, reverses, aileron into wind. I didn't really decrab there. Reverses are good. 100 knots. Alright, puppy.
80 knots.
80 knots. The order brake now is really good. Feels just about right. 60 knots idle reverse. Disengage the order brake to let the aircraft roll. Alright, puppy. Alright. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tallinn. I have no idea what the landing rate is because it doesn't ever come up on my screen.
Remaining.
So we'll leave the reversers, well no, we can study reversers now, and we're just going to take this high-speed exit here, let the aircraft roll essentially. You can approach these kind of rapid exit taxiways, you know, 45 knots is a good speed to approach it, and then we just continue braking to make sure you're at 30 knots by the time you reach the taxiway. So we can retract the flaps,
Caution,
slow the speed
on
brake.
taxiway,
All
on
right,
taxiway.
Ras, my goodness me. Right, start braking now just to get the speed to 30 knots. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Here we are. And that's it. Nice rapid taxiway out here. We'll get the APU started. And I'll try and do the cleanup as best as I can. So transponder to standby. Trim. I will actually reset this. Oh my god, oh, crikey. This is the problem sometimes with the desktop simulator. You know, the rudder inputs I'm making here. Now, when you taxi in the real 737, you can use the rudder, but you don't need to use, you know, if you use quite a lot, the aircraft doesn't move much. Obviously, in the mod, the Riga has is full Tuller input, so I just used as much right rudder as I would in the real aircraft, which is why we jerked off to the right. I hope I don't have that happen when I'm in the real aircraft. Right, so I'm going to start carrying the cleaner out of. Trim set to about 4 units. There we go. That's all set. Order brake to off. Flight directors off. MCP just set to the nearest height plus 100 feet. We can reset this to 0. Flight directors are already off. Strobes can come off. APU's already on the bus. Probes can come off as well. There we go. And we'll just taxi. I think there's a stand here. Yeah, we'll just go straight onto this stand there. Stand, whatever stand it is. I have no idea. Mike 12. There we go. Mike 12. There we go. That is a very fluid taxi in and onto stand. Nice. Haven't stopped once. So we can now shut down engine number 2. Pulling onto stand. Now you imagine you have an airline with a lot of aircraft. You know, if they can get each pilot to shut the engine down on engine number 2, you know, we have a 3-minute cooldown time. You can save quite a bit of fuel by doing that. And we'll just let the aircraft roll onto stand nicely. Look at all our passengers waiting for their return sector to Riga. This scenery looks pretty awesome, actually. There we go. Stop. Oh, it did say stop. Oh, I'm just gonna nudge it forward a bit. There we go. Stop. Right. So parking brake is set. There you go. Oops. 2 blues, 1 red. Engine's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riga. I've got to do the SWAT switches there. So transit shutdown checklist. Open the isolation valve. APU bleed we can put on to get some conditioned air into the cabin. Anti-collision light off. Transponder to 2000 standby. And that is it. Welcome to Tallinn, guys. So, I didn't actually see what the landing rate calculator was. 142 again. I've got a funny feeling that the Project Fly, you know, it doesn't actually represent the correct landing rate. I've read actually somewhere online it doesn't, so, but that's pretty good anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to log off VATSIM first, because we're going to do some replays. We'll do some replays, and then what I'm going to do is leave you watching kind of like the external view on the last landing. I'll take a very quick 10-minute break, reconfigure the flight for the next sector. I'm just going to end the flight on Project Fly, complete flight, complete. That's done. Back, there we go, and then I'll turn off the overlay. I see I'm getting good at this old streaming now, remembering to do all this stuff. And what we're going to do is the replay, so you can see what's going on. There we go. Oh look, we've got the jetway connected as well. We'll have a look at the terminal when I get back from the break, so I do need to go to the toilet. Right, so flights, replay mode is Alt-R, and with that we'll put some nice little music on for the replay as well. So let's get ourselves just onto the approach. That'll do quite nicely. So yeah, it's quite a nice approach. You saw their visual approach to just a 4-mile final. I don't think I decrabbed there. It didn't look quite right for me in the mod there, like the picture of it. I didn't feel like I was crabbing into it. Anyway, we came with a fresh shoulder height. It was good, fully stabilised. There we go. I don't think I used any rudder. Yeah, I didn't. That was lazy of me. You can land with crab, but you can make the aircraft jerk quite a bit. So yeah, I think the landing was overall quite nice. Quite nice indeed. Did I log off of VATSIM? I can't remember if I did. No, I did. Very good. Let's do a view from here. Excellent. So yeah, a little bit lazy with the rudder, but not to worry. The touchdown is at least nicely in the touchdown zone, and then we decelerated quite nicely. Stream checklist complete, very much so. I do actually have a little checklist on a post-it note, so you can make sure I've done everything pre and post stream, so it's all on correctly. Right, guys, so what I'm going to do, I'll leave you in this view here. I'll just take a very quick, it'll be no more than 10 minutes break, go to the toilet, then I can get everything set up for the next flight, file the new flight plans, update project fly accordingly, and then we'll do the return sector to Riga. I'll be back with you very shortly, guys. Thank you. Well, I'm back again, guys. Thank you very much for that. Just had a nice quick refresh, some juice. Did what I had to do, and we're now ready for the return sector. Well, imagine I've just done the virtual walk around to check the aircraft, and it's still in one piece, which is the excellent news we always like to hear. So, I've done Project Fly. I've updated the flight plan in VATSIM, so log back onto network. I've done Active Sky as well. I'm here. I'm basically a full-time streamer now. I know exactly what I'm doing here. Excellent. We have a downvote. Oh dear, an Airbus pilot probably, or someone else. Yeah, please give my videos a thumbs up, guys. Don't give myself a thumbs down. Oh, I don't know why people have to do that. It doesn't really bother me that much. Right. Yeah, we're going to be broadside 02 for the way back. ATR 371. So we'll go flight here. Squawk box connect. We'll just change this to 02 and then connect, and we should be back onto the network there. So I haven't touched it. As you've seen, you've just had a lovely replay view there. I did end the replay, didn't I? Yeah, off. Yeah, sometimes that can happen. You forget to end the replay mode. Oh, what is it with me and my streams and fire trucks? They appear on every goddamn stream now. They seem to basically think I'm always causing problems for all these flights here. So yeah, return sector, similar flight time. It's going to be about what was it, 40 minutes, no more than that, maybe 35 or so. Get rid of the ILS chart. ILS chart here. Now, just to prep the ZIBO mod correctly, what we're going to do is we'll leave the AP running. We'll just imagine they've got no ground power available. Don't need the air test, we've got the jet bridge. Better pushback, we'll do a pushback from here as well. Where is it? Yeah, so terminate flight leg. There you go. I should have done that before we started it. So yeah, the cleaners are on, clean the aircraft, cabin crew got it all ready again, and then we can restart the flight leg again. So you get all the kind of, you know, the immersion there. It's really nice to have in a simulator as well. So yeah, I always like to show like the developers' scenery as well. So yeah, this scenery, oh, you can look. See how the jittering is? I think this is caused by shadows and clouds. Like, if you move the camera, you get this awful flashing effect. It's really, really annoying there. But anyway, we're in Tallinn. You can see it. The scenery looks, well, I guess pretty realistic here. There's the city, and yeah, that's it. We're going to take off from here. We're going to still take off from 26. The wind is actually slightly favouring 08 now. It's 170, but the tailwind's less than 10 knots. I've actually done a performance calculation to ensure that we can take off safely with a 10 knot tailwind from the intersection departure anyway, so it's all looking good there. So, transit setup, where do we start then? Well, pilot monitoring's done his walk around. The aircraft's going to be refueled first, so excuse the jittering lights. If anyone can get me a... I did look at a fix for that, but I think it caused more problems than others. But the X-Plane need to fix this cloud shadow effect. Well, certainly they don't need to probably fix it, so I need to do. Anyway, we'll have to ignore that. So fuel for the return sector. I'll show you the flight plan shortly. We need 4.4 minimum. So the weather, again, is very nice. So we'll just take standard block fuel, 4.6 tons. Well, imagine we're taking 150 passengers again. It's just a coincidence that we have that on the way back. So we'll leave the payload at 16 tons. So the aircraft's pre-fueled. Now, forgot to turn the weather radar off. So the first officer has now very damaging cancer or something like that. That's awful. But yeah, don't forget to turn the weather radar off. The X-ray, you know, it's quite dangerous. What the X-rays that come off that, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's it. We're gonna jump up onto the overhead panel. APU's all the bus. That's all pretty much set. Pre-fueling's done, so fasten seatbelt sign can come on. Flight directives will pop back on now as well. Reset. Put the order brake to RTO, reset the fuel flow as well for the next sector, and then essentially MFRA needs to be set as well. I've done the OPT whilst you were in that intermission. I've reset that performance now for Tallinn runway 26. It's a 1140, which will set now, and the MFRA I think, sorry, the QNH I think is still exactly the same, hasn't changed. It's now 1009, so it's still exactly the same. And that's it, straight into the FMC again. Now, after you land, the FMC completely resets. Look at these winds bearing around. You definitely don't get that information on the progress page. So yeah, the FMC automatically resets, so you can essentially reload it again for the next sector. So starting on the first page here as well, we can now update to say where we are, which is Tallinn, Echo Tango November. And we'll be routing back to Riga, Echo Victor Romeo Alpha. We're now going to be the broadsword 02, which is now set. Departing runway 26. The SID we're now flying is an Ortax 1 Tango. And essentially, I think it's the same way as we came. All tax. Oh, yeah, helps if I get the flight plan out. Avitab, charts, bin this one. Here's the second one. There's the fuel, 4.6. We put on board. And let's just pop up the routing. There we go. And after all tax, Lima 729 to Lutau, which is set, and that's the arrival. Very, very simple, because it's such a short sector. It's going to be straight in off ILS 18 via Lutau 5 Alpha, and I've just quickly checked the chart here on my work EFB for EVRA. It's going to be for Lutau 5 Lusok transition. So you need to check the chart again. I'll highlight that later on when we're briefing there. So that's all set. Route activate execute init rev. So zero fuel weight the same. Let's have a look at the reserves. I can't remember what I put as our alternate. Kaunas, which is I think Lithuania. So the sum of these two is your alternate fuel. So it's going to be 2, let's call it 2.5 tons. So that's the amount of fuel we need to divert to Kaunas to ensure that we land with our final reserve. Cost index is 30. Cruising on the way back at flight level 180, which is now set into the upper overhead panel. We can now set this to 50 feet, I think is what we have in Riga. Back to the FMC cruise wind. Top of climb wind at 180, there we go. 219 at 38. So I guess this can be pretty boring. You often see me just punching stuff for the FMC, but if you guys want to become an airline pilot, you better get used to this. You do it sometimes twice, 4 times a day. So yeah, I'm sorry for this kind of boring stage of the setup. Temperature right now, let's see if it's updated. So it's 20 degrees here. Yeah, we've got the TAT at 19, so I think that's all correct there. What did I use for the OPT performance? I used 19. We'll put 19 here. There we go. Well, as well do the takeoff performance whilst we're on this page. We don't usually do it in this sequence because you do that with the first officer. But the OPT, based on all the weather I put in here, from the Foxtrot intersection departure for runway 26 and a 5-knot tailwind, is saying we can take reduced 22k at 44 degrees with 87.8 N1. So 22 at 44 degrees, and that should give us 87.8. There we go, 87.9, excellent, that's all correct. V speeds are 37, 37, 41, 37, 38, 42, excellent. Now, one of the things I love about the ZIBO mod, you don't need to shut your entire sim down. I certainly remember when I had FSX, if you did a second flight after the other one, and in the PMDG, there was often like a few bugs and issues and stuff. For the mod, there seems to be no issue at all. You could do as many sectors as you want without shutting the sim down, which is pretty cool. So that's it. For some reason the runway heading's reset though, talking about that. So I think we've done all the takeoff performance calculations. We'll put that to the performance takeoff page. Legs for the pilot monitoring. We'll ditch that. Back to the up overhead panel. So there's not much to do on a transit setup. Pretty much the switch is in the right place. You put the centre fuel tanks, pumps on if you had the fuel. That's it. We'd switch the igniter to the left if it's an unmanned base. I can go into a lot of detail as to why. It's to do with how the igniters are powered, standby buses, and basically you need to, if there's a fault, you need to switch them onto the AC standby bus or something to ensure that if you lose electrical power you always have igniters. Again, without quoting the MEL, the exact restrictions I can't tell you off the top of my head, but if you're really interested you can ask me the question on Facebook and I'll answer it for you. Right, so runway heading now. We need to select the SID first. Or did I select the SID already? There's the chart runway. No, I didn't. So departure. Or tax 1 tango. There we go. So that is selected. Very simple. Straight ahead, 1300 feet, automatic left turn to Ortax. That's my sort of SID there. And just can't remember the runway QDM because I did reset. It's 262. Yes, the same as the courses. There we go. Runway heading is set. Perfect. So, taxi. Yeah, you know where we are. We haven't left it anywhere. So we're taxiing out here from stand 12. Pushback face east. We'll go Alpha, and then we've actually done the performance on a 5-knot tailwind from Foxtrot. So I might actually do an intersection departure from Foxtrot. We've got more than enough meeting the performance set to be able to take that departure. And yeah, the SID, guys, very, very simple. Straight ahead 1300 feet, left turn and inbound to Ortax. There's an RNAV SID, there's nothing to tune, no nav aids there, so all I'm going to do is put Riga is the active frequency of the VOR as a backup, and then if there's any problems we can just come straight back to the airfield and then do perhaps the ILS. And the Riga VOR, well, it's on, I know it's on standby. What was it? 112.2. We'll make that active, and we'll just leave the runway QDM to the courses there. So that's all looking good. So APU's running still. APU bleeds on. You can see, look, if you leave the APU running for a long time, you start using fuel from the left pump, which is where it takes the left tank. Sorry, where it takes the fuel. So you've already used 10 kilos there. A significant time on the ground with the APU running with no fuel in the centre tank. You can actually get quite an imbalance there. So it's something to be wary of. Certainly not an issue in a desktop simulator. Right, what else do I need to do? I think we're all good. All set up. Better pushback. That's what I need to organise. I think it should have saved something I did earlier. So pre-planned. There we go. We'll use the one that's there already.
Round to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
It's definitely not an Estonian accent, but nonetheless we'll take it. Right, ground services. Better pushback. Request pushback. There we go.
Ground
Cool.
to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
So that's it, guys. Yeah, probably into Riga. It's a straighted approach for runway 18. I might just make it a simple ILS. We'll see if there's anything you want to really see. But the wind's certainly favouring runway 18 there. Sort of not an issue. I've got phones ringing. Oh, everyone's trying to contact me. I don't know. Is that block number? So I won't answer that. Perfect. That gives me a chance actually to catch up on the chat, 'cause I've not looked at any of that during the setup. What is the function of the start switches, El Abilo? It allows you to provide ignition to the engine. Daniel Gonzalo, are the replays an Explain 11 thing, or is it an external mod? It's all default. Explain 11 allows you to do that.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Raw data. Well, so what's an RNAV SID? So James, you want me to do the RNAV SID? Is there an RNAV approach into runway 18? I'm sure there is. We could do the RNAV SID. There isn't an RNAV approach into Riga, which I find quite unusual. Got VOR, localizer, ILS. Riga M. I might do a raw data, we'll see. We'll pop off all the flight directors perhaps at 3000 and then fly it manually. Cool. At least the cloud shadows have gone. Let's have a look in the terminal. Oh, there we go. Oh!
So connected and
merged into the
bypass and
table.
inserted. Release parking brake.
Fantastic. Right, anyway, let's get on our way back. So air conditioning packs off. Oh, look, we've got the flipping cargo door. Hopefully they'll close now. I won't just take the parking brake off just yet. Alright, I just need to shut the cargo doors, guys. Where is the doors? Oh, I can't remember doors. There we go. Locked, locked. I think it's done it automatically. There we go. Fantastic. ZIBO's brilliant. I think when you take the anti-collision light on, it does all that for you. So yeah, we can release the parking brake and head on our way there. There goes the bridge.
Starting
There we go.
pushback, and you may start engines.
Thank you. Fazil, no, I missed the whole flight. Well, you've just made it in time for the second sector. Oh, these shuddering lights. Is that my graphics card? Or I know it's something to do with cloud shadows in Explain 11, which doesn't work properly. Awesome. So we'll start engine number 2. Actually, I better put some trim in because I did leave it at 4 instead of about 5. That should do nicely. Yeah, it's also a comment about CG. You can use this, it's good enough for the FMC, but the actual calculation comes officially from the OPT app, so I should be using that. So, bring up the 25%, there we go. Fuel, in we go. Gary Evans, after takeoff, when should you push LNAV and VNAV? We push, well, as an operator, we don't use VNAV for departure. We just use LNAV and toga and level change when we engage the autopilot, and we engage LNAV whilst entering the runway there, as you'll see me do all the streams. Basically, when you're watching these streams of the NG, I'm doing it as realistically as you can, as per the operator's procedure I use at work. You know, as I can in a single pilot environment. That's as much as I can do there. Oh, look at that. That's giving me some crazy effect. That's really annoying, those strobes. I have to stare at the ground. Right, starting engine number 1. That is really freaky. Those fire trucks are not coming. Yeah, they should be following me, that's for sure. Right, N2. Oil pressure N1. Slam cannons, cloud shadow power. There are some X-Vision processors that I've heard of X-Vision. Maybe I should buy that then to stop that crazy effect. I was rather hoping that, you know, X-Plane might be able, the people that work there could fix it. Should be quite good. It's only when you're moving, look. So, starter cut out, monitor engine number 1, that is all stable. Generators
Operation
on.
complete. Set parking brake.
Right, parking brake is set, clear to descent, tow bar bypass pin advised.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
So probably would have delayed the engine start slightly because it takes such a long time and this whole procedure of lowering the aircraft, etc. Rasmus just started gliding school. Fantastic, good luck to you. That's how I got into flying at first. I actually started gliding when I was about 15 years old. Fazio, what's the ETA for the new flight? Less than 40 minutes, I should say. Less than 40 minutes. Very quick flight. In fact, if you have just turned up, I will show you where we are going geographically. Here we are in Tallinn, Eastern Europe, and we're going to Riga here, just there. So 40 minutes, very short flight. I think this is actually a real-world flight operated by Dash 8s. They don't utilise 737 on this sector.
So is
Kim, no, they're not
disconnected
busy.
and
They're too busy
bypass
with experimental
pin
flight
removed.
model.
Hand
It's
signal will
Vulcan.
be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Thank you very much, sir. It's obviously an expat of some sort. Right, that's all done. Remember the isolation valve in auto, at least this time. Oops. Set flaps. 5 required. And 5 set to green light. Stab trim 4.6 is set. So yeah, someone said leave the flight controls up. So yeah, I'll do that this time. So forward, back, left, centre, right, centre, rudders, left and right, recall. What's that for? I've forgotten. The probes. Right. I'm being a bit lazy today, so let's just step through that slowly. Generators on, APU off, star switch continues, probe on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, packs auto, isolation valve auto, flaps 5, selected green light, stab trim, recall's done. We are now ready for takeoff. There we go. Right, so turn off and taxi. We'll let our VATS and friends know. Oh no, I don't need to say call sign. Taxiing to runway 26. Oh, look at that. Taxiing to runway 26. There we go. Right, so lights are on, release parking brake, config check, no takeoff config warnings or sounded, and that's it. Just a slight right turn. Guys, sorry for the strobe effects there. That is really annoying. I think I might invest in this X-Vision if that can fix it. See, look, it's only when you're moving. If I take an external view like this and don't move, it's fine. But if you're moving forward, well, stop now. Oh no, if you're moving like certainly with the yaw, it gives you those crazy effects. Oh well. God, John, don't forget the clock this time. Yeah, I'll try not to. Could be one of those days. Awesome. Trying to find a view where you get less strobe effects, but fortunately that wasn't much better. Anyway, we can now do the before takeoff checklist. Configs checked, flaps we've got 5 green light, stab trim set for takeoff briefing. Packs are auto, bleeds on, the V-speeds are set for departure. They are 37, 38, 42 set. We're going to be flying the Ortax 1 Tango. That's it, essentially just takes us straight ahead to 1300 feet, I think it was. Let me just get the SID up to double check. Ortax 1 Tango, there we go. So Ortax 1 Tango, straight ahead to 1300 feet, just left turn direct to Ortax. Stop climb 4,000 feet, which I didn't set on the MCP. You do that when you get your real SID departure briefing. And that's it, reviewed. Cabin, all imagine, is secure. So we'll put this switch on. There we go, check's complete. And I'm taxiing 29 knots, 30 knots is the maximum taxi speed we use at the airline I work for. I've got someone knocking at the door now as well. It's alright, it's probably something from my partner from what a boohoo or some rubbish. I'll go pick get late to the post office, which is only about a 5-minute walk from here. Alright, cool, so here we are in Tallinn. Look at the scenery, I hope you didn't hear that. Yeah, look, awesome, looks really, really cool here. Like I've actually got quite a few bits from Dr. Zhuwaiski. I've got Warsaw modelling, I think, another airport as well. This one certainly appears to be as of a good a quality as they always are. Tim Skipper, who is also a member, I don't think I've ever spoken to you, but thank you very much for the membership. I'm sorry if I missed that at some point. X-Vision is well worth installing. Visuals are massively improved in colour and contrast. Okay, I'll have a look into that. See if it certainly affects the things. Does it affect performance too much? Because I'm of one that doesn't want. I don't want hundreds of things running in the background. Yeah, just keep performance good, because the performance is pretty good. I have just a one PC setup. Everything's running through the PC. And I have my laptop with the chat in for you guys, so I have to look across my shoulder to look at that, but I don't want to start bottlenecking the system. There we go. So, we are making our way to the whole point. As I said, we're going to use this intersection departure. We'll go here via Foxtrot. We've done the performance from there. And we'll let the VATSIM, our colleagues, or let's say our friends on VATSIM, let me know we're taking off. So, takeoff, runway, 26. There we go. Got someone pushing and starting, someone else taxiing to runway 26 behind me in a KLM. Can we see him? There he is, all the way back there. Fantastic. Right, so, here's the intersection. So, as you've got a takeoff clearance. Latest wind is always gusting 24 knot crosswind now. That could be fun. We saw what happens in crosswinds in X-Plane 11 last stream. Quite interesting. Oh dear, so interesting. The developer Austin commented on it. He seems like a great guy actually, for a bit of laugh and stuff. But I think there's a mixture of issues with the FlyJ sim, some of the physics in X-Plane. I don't know. I certainly need to have a play and test around it. But it's pretty good to be fair. That's why I use X-Plane, because it's so much better than any other sim. Right, so I'm all out of secrets now. So weather radar on. Don't forget the timer. Don't forget the timer. So MCP is set. Transponder. TARA, strobe lights on, landing lights on, checks can be just the timer to come. So as I said, I did the takeoff performance from the intersection here for Foxtrot, so it's quite important to do that kind of sharp lineup I was mentioning earlier in Riga, just so you use every single bit of the runway really. Oh yeah, I definitely need to get rid of those flashing lights, that's for sure. 18013 gusting 24 in Tallinn.
On runway 26.
Excellent. So looking for 262. There we are. Slightly off the centre line, but we'll sort that out during the takeoff roll. Right, look, I remembered timing. Oh no, I forgot to reset it for the previous sector first. There we go, timing. Let's go. Right, 40% N1. So we will need to use some right rudder during this takeoff roll to keep the centre line. Right, stabilise, push toga, set takeoff thrust. Let's go. So looking for 87.9. There we go, takeoff thrust set, indication on. So I'm putting in that right rudder now, as the crosswind's cocking the nose to the left.
80 knots.
Checked. A little bit of an aileron into wind, so left aileron, you can see the control column in the screen. Yeah, 20 knots, quite a strong crosswind actually. So just use as much aileron as you need to keep the wings level. Rotate, you can see the takeoff performance calculation work quite nicely. Keeping the aileron, wings level, that's really nice. Actually, the physics there, take it back, it's actually really good. Gear up, certainly ZIBO's built a stellar flight model. Like the right amount of aileron input to keep the wings level, the crab was beautiful.
400.
LNAV, you should be able to see us crabbing on the departure there. There you go, look at that. Awesome. I love this sim, man. Oh, it's so good. Right, looks like it's working correctly. So there's 1300 feet. Should command the left turn soon.
1,000.
1,000 feet. We can now bug up. And there we go. There's the left turn at 1300. Good. So that SID is definitely looking correct. Flap 1. And flaps up. Just do his turn manually inbound to Ortax. approaching 4,000 feet, so it would automatically contact radar. And most likely they'll give us continuous climb, so we'll go straight up to 180 again. There we go, that is now set. No restriction in the FMC, which there should be, so we don't need to push out into vents. Cool, I'm still flying manually, so back onto the flight directors. So flaps up, no lights. We can now engage VNAV, set standard. Aircraft's now going to pitch down to accelerate to 250. We've now got 40 for flight level 180 after takeoff checklist. And once I've just got it trimmed a bit more, there we go, we'll get the automation in. So command A, and let's bring on the after takeoff checklist. So off, auto brake to off, start switches off. That can be off now. So air conditioning and pressurization climbing nicely, 2.0. All looking good. Temperatures are set. Reese cabin crew, there we go. After takeoff checklist is complete. Nice takeoff so far. The mod is behaving fantastically. Now that was about a 20 knot crosswind there. The rudder input I had was really nice. It was really working. Helped decrab that. When I lifted off the downwind engine wanted to drop, so you had to really put the upwind engine wanted to drop, so I had to put the aileron into wind there. It was really nice, certainly handled better than the 200 did, and again, I don't know if, for me, the 200, the Fly JSIM 200, which is one of my favourite aircraft on X-Plane, I love streaming in that, and I'm going to do, I think my next stream might go in there again. I don't know, we did some crosswind landings on the last stream, and it felt, for me, when it wasn't working correctly, something was wrong. I have not since then tested the ZIBO mod in 30 knot crosswinds, but it's certainly easier to handle. We've done a couple of streams certainly in 25 knot crosswind, and I've been able to keep it on the runway, at least a wing on the ground. But yeah, we'll have to see. I need to certainly do more testing there. I just don't have the time, guys, because I don't live, you know, when I'm working, I'm away for home 5 nights at a time, and I come home, I usually get 3 or 4 nights at home then afterwards, so I'm very limited at the moment, very limited. I'm hoping to get a transfer, certainly close at home, not where I want to be. I'm gonna have to wait for a couple of years for that, but I'm certainly going to get close to home, hopefully by the end of the year. Right, Daniel, so we've got to go now. Very sorry to hear that. So thanks certainly for coming in. Catch up with you later in Discord. Riga, I think aileron authority is a bit messed up in X-Plane. Again, yeah, I'm just a pilot. I can only tell you I do this and it should do that. When it comes to the mathematics, the programming, clueless, absolutely clueless. That's where ZIBO comes in. He's magical at altering things and making it work. Thanks a lot, Daniel. Take care, mate. Right, anyway, let's do the pre-cruise check. So 102 for 180, fuel, lights off, APUs off, pressurization 4.9, and climbing. Temperatures are set. Recall, let's release the passengers. There we go. Check's complete. We haven't done many cabin views today. There we go. And if you're wondering, that person talking in the background is actually my partner. We recorded all that stuff for Audio Per XP about a year ago. Very nice. At least we had good weather today. Like the stream, the weather's been fair to us. It's been very, very nice. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the alert box. There we go. Right, so as we get airborne, we can now ditch all the charts, although we're still technically on the SID. Bring up EVRA as well. And yeah, I mean, the approach here is straight in. I mean, there's no benefit or time savings from doing a visual approach. We're coming in from the north, flying south, landing on a southerly runway, so it's the sort of perfect, all the kind of like everything's lining up nicely there. Daniel Casolo, can you please explain what winds to be used in the descent forecast page? Yes, we use the ones off the operational flight plan that allows VNAV to build up a more efficient idle path descent. So you might have seen me use them several streams. We punch these winds in, and then VNAV, it can alter the idle path attitude. You know, it's an angle, it builds based off your weight. There's a lot of different variables there, but if you give it the wind, it can plan the top of descent a little bit better, and all that stuff. Mitch, our taxi speed limit's the same at all airports. there can be some airport-specific restrictions, mostly associated with rapid exit taxiways and turns, but most of them we have our SOP assigned speed, so 30 knots is the maximum speed on a taxiway, 15 knots on an apron where there's aircraft manoeuvring around, 10 knots for turns over 90 degrees. They're the most common speed restrictions we use there. So yeah, not paying attention, we'd again lower your rate of climb to ensure that you don't barrel up to 180. The reason being, as I said earlier, is to prevent an aircraft that might be at 190. With that closure rate, you might generate a TA. But as it's just us here at the moment, we'll just let VNAV deal with the level off and accelerate to our cruise speed at flight level 180. And that's it. It's 9:51 Zulu. Our top of descent point is going to be at 03, so just over 10 minutes. So 2 very short sectors today. Captain side, do you use a joke or joystick? I use a Logitech Extreme 3D Pro, ye old faithful, which I've had for, well, I think I had this when I certainly was doing my IR, so I think now 10 years I've had this joystick. It's pretty old, but it's for me, I think it's great, works well, but I might invest on a slightly better joystick for the future, we'll see. Cromag S, safe flight captain. I have my first flight in Australia next week and I was inspired to start flying by your stream. Love your work, I have learned so much. Well, thank you very much, Cromag, for popping in and enjoy your flights in Australia. Berman, beyond captain, what ambitions do you have in aviation? I don't know really. I've reached kind of like where I wanted to in my career. Captain now on a 737. That's pretty good. I'd like to be in a few years' time, not just yet, a line training captain. So teach myself. There is an opportunity to become a line training captain next year, but I'm still settling into left-hand seat. I've been there now 7 months, I think. 6 months. Got about 400 or 500 hours. So I've seen quite a few things, but I'd still like to do a full winter. I want to do a full winter with all the rubbish that you get in winter to kind of like build up my own experience. I know that sounds quite scary for you guys. You think, oh, you're a captain, you should know all this, but I certainly do. But it's just the first time I've been in charge dealing with those situations, so it's all about dealing with those in a tiny manner. Take your time, don't rush. But there, line training captain next, TRE perhaps in a few years. We shall see. I'm very, very happy where I currently work, and I'm very happy with my role. The only issue is not being at home, which is just something you have to accept. Certainly, I've been quite lucky. I've always been around home for the last 4 or 5 years. It just goes part and parcel with this job. So if you're someone that really likes their home life, I wouldn't suggest becoming a pilot, because I've lived now. When I first joined the company I work for, I lived in Spain for 1.5 years, and you just have to accept that. I went to America for 6 months. It's just part and parcel with this job, and obviously the hours you work, very unsociable. Yes, Birdman, sounds great. I give you quite a detailed answer, I suppose. But yeah, I guess you guys want to hear that. It's quite interesting. So I think what we'll do, we'll plan for the ILS. I think someone suggested do it raw data, so we'll do that. We'll fly in. I'll get to around 7-8 miles. I'll disconnect everything, turn off the flight directors, and I'll talk you through kind of like a raw data. It is tricky in a desktop simulator because you have to really concentrate on the PFD and the ND whilst looking outside, as well, certainly as you get close to the runway. But I'll do my absolute best for you. Lixius, did you have your first major captain incident yet? No, thankfully not, for long as that may stay. As you probably saw, for those of you in Europe, there was a lot of disruption in Europe from French ATC issues. What day was that? 3 or 4 days ago. We were super late. We were running 3.5, 4 hours late. That's quite tiring. You're landing at kind of 2 o'clock in the morning. You've been on the go, coming up to your max duty time, so you've got to be very careful about the hours you work in aviation. But that can be a bit tough. But thankfully, the weather was on our side. Certainly for the last 2 sectors. The first 2 weren't great. Cool. So here we are, approaching south of Estonia. We've got, again, the Gulf of Riga. I think this is all here up ahead, and then Riga's going to be in the distance as well. So yeah, we won't go into too much detail in the briefing. For those of you who have watched all my streams before, I'm pretty confident you know how to set up an ILS. So I'll just punch the figures in quite quickly. 250 below 100. Yeah, you can do that in the real aircraft, just 250/ works quite well. Forecast winds are in. Let's just do 150, 100, and 1,000 again. Cool. QNH in Riga now 1011. I think the fact is what it was when we left. And winds are going to be 218 to 32. What on earth was that noise? I just heard a really weird noise in my sound, but I have no idea what that is. I heard like a jingling sound. Is that someone's bought some merchandise? I think someone might have bought a merchandise. Someone's bought a hoodie. Oh my goodness. I missed who it was. Thank you very much for buying a Flight Deck to Sim hoodie. Oh my goodness, I forgot to mention, yeah guys, I have lots of merchandise now through Teespring. I'll let you know, I'll be perfectly honest, I was a bit appalled by the amount of money Teespring decided to charge for some of the products, so I've lowered them quite a bit. They're still quite expensive, but certainly it just means that I get a very teeny return. For example, the hoodie, about £3 or £4, a mug, about 50p. So yeah, thank you very much. I completely missed who purchased the hoodie. I didn't even realise that Streamlabs recognised that, and it hasn't come up on the recent events there, so thank you very much, appreciate that. If you so want to support the channel, buy some merchandise, please do. Tag Flight Deck Sim, I'll retweet you, do anything, but that's really cool. I appreciate that support. Thank you very much for that. I've even bought my own Flight Deck to Sim hoodie, so yeah, that's wicked. Right, that noise, I'd never heard it before. What was I doing? Wind in Riga, sorry, 17017. I'm putting the wrong wind in here. Cool. That is executed. There we go. So winds are in. QNH is 1011, which will set here as well.
50.
I've got another donation coming in from Justin Schulter. Thank you very much. €5. I've learned so much from your videos. Now considering switching careers from military to pilot. Any tips? Also stream like always. Safe flight. I'm not your man to ask about current affairs right now. Certainly online you're going to find lots of information on a lot of flight training schools. I trained at Oxford Aviation Academy, or CAE, it's now called CAE Oxford. They'll certainly give you some information. You've got integrated courses, modular courses. It depends on your social life. You know, if you've got the time to give up work for a year, you can go integrated. That'll be certainly the quickest option. Modular is certainly the most popular way. It's a way I wish I'd done, because I could have saved quite a bit of money. And it's kind of like a stepped approach to flight training. Loads of different ways. It's easily accessible to anyone. It's expensive. You know, I only finished paying off my loan a few years ago, and it did put me, you know, I didn't have much disposable income for my first 4 or 5 years, but it was well worth it. So yeah, drop me a PM if you need more information. Thank you very much for the donation. ATR 371, yes, beach towel. You can buy yourself a beach towel. I had no intention of putting a beach towel. My partner, who helped me do this, said please put a beach towel on. So yeah, if you tag me on the beach with a Flight Deck to Sim beach towel, I will 100% retweet that and post on Instagram. Hilarious. Unbelievable. Right, anyway, sorry guys, really distracted and sidetracked. Winds are in QNH as well. Let's put my lovely fixed rings into runway 18. I need to change Streamlabs so it does something different than a bidding. I'll do something a bit funny for a little animation. The winds are in. Forecast page, fixed rings we've done. Airport, arrival. The arrival we're doing, what is it? It's a chem, we're already probably on the star. No, a Lutal. Lutal 5 Alpha. Just selecting the chart here as well. Lutal. Why have I got the wrong star up on my personal iPad? Oh, one here. Oh, no. Lutal 5 Alpha. Where is the Lutal 5 Alpha for Riga on my work iPad? I don't seem to have it. How bizarre. I don't really need to worry about it too much because it's a straight. I'm going to go from Lutal to Lusoc anyway, and we'll select ILS 18 as well. And again, I'm not going to go into much detail. It's a very simple ILS, guys. So 1111178. 11111. And 178. But I will fly at raw data. 178, and the minimums for Cat 1 ILS here is 233 feet. There we go. That is all set. We'll put the Riga VOR on standby, which is 11205. There we go. So VR is on standby. So that's it. Yeah, it's very simple. We're going to come straight in from Lusoc. Might even route direct to a 10-mile final, which is on the arrival part of Lutau. So Lutau to Lusoc, and then Lusoc to the centre fix for the ILS. Now looking at the FMC, we might modify this. So yeah, we've got a hard altitude at the centre fix. We're going to put this to at or above, just so we do some sort of CDA as well. Someone else spotted another thing. Bilbo Baggins, who's not only became a member today, he's also purchased an official flight deck to sim mug. Thank you very much, Bilbo Baggins from the Shire, for the mug and the membership today. That's very, very kind. I hope you enjoy many a coffee and tea adorning the logo. I appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very, very much. So that's it, 2,500 feet. That's the platform altitude. We'll intercept the ILS at 7.4 DME. Down we go, down to the minimums. The go around nice and straightforward. Climb on runway track to 2,500 feet, and ATC will provide vectors after 1,500. That's it. No terrain issues. 2,300 feet available. The only thing was the runway, airport, and parking stands. We'll probably just park where we started. That'll be quite cool. Go to 108. And we've got airport info takeoff minimum. So we're going to be landing on runway 18. Hello, buddy. You okay? Good boy. Alright. We're going to be making a vacate here, runway 18. Nice long runway again. We'll try to make a vacate at Charlie. I think flap 30 order break 3 again. I don't have the time to opportunity to take a stream shot. Oh my god, I'm all over the place now. Take a screenshot of the landing performance to be able to show you what I've got on the display there. But it shows on my OPT that I can land easily with order break 3, flat 30 and Charlie on a dry runway. So 60.2, flat 30, order break 3, and we'll use second E10 reverse as well to bring it to a stop. That's it. And we'll just fly raw data. Finn Bethel, sorry. Thank you very much. Hi from Australia. Great timing for the stream here. Yes, I suppose that many of my friends over there, Australia, New Zealand, East Asia, will be able to watch this at a more suitable time in the evening here prior for you to go to bed. So yes, I probably won't do many more streams like this because a lot of guys, you know, I watch it from Europe and the US. You know, the US now it's early in the morning, very early in the morning. Most guys in the week in Europe now will be working or at school if you're perhaps a little bit younger. So I try to stream at weekends where I can. Right, so reset MCP altitude. Let's go for flight level 70. There we go. And we'll let the aircraft descend automatically at top descents. Cool. Lovely day here though. Look as we fly over the Gulf of Riga. And there again, there's the aircraft carrier again. I think one of these streams, you know, I've made a new playlist, if you're new to this channel, called Just for Fun, where we did the 200. I might do some, like, chopper streams or something if I can. You know, those I could just fire at the PC whenever. These streams, the one like I'm doing now, they actually take quite a lot of preparation. So I like to practice the flight first to make sure that there's no issues with the mod or explain. I printed all the flight plans this morning. I do all the takeoff performance calculations absolutely to the letter. I'd say it probably take a full hour to prepare for a stream like this. Certainly some of the more complicated airports, I like to study the charts, as I would do in reality before flying to an airport like that. So that's it. Right, retard arm. We've got a decel point here. Why is that decel? Oh yeah, that's the 250 knots. So as I said earlier, we've got a 250 below 100 decel, but we're just missing the second decel for the approach there, which hopefully ZIBO will fix. PD UK, sorry, did order breakthrough? Yeah, I think that should be fine. If it's too much, we could just, you know, kick it out and just let the aircraft roll, but that should be okay for Charlie. The Lixius 800 aircraft carrier touch and go, not this stream, but, you know, maybe one day for a bit of fun. Who here hasn't tried to land a 737 on an aircraft carrier in FSX or explain? Certainly I have. Right, seatbelt sign on. How am I doing for time? Good. Yeah, this is super tight for me because as soon as this is finished, I've got to pack my bags. I've got a friend picking me up from home to take me to the airport to catch my Flybe flight to my base. So I'll put some Flybe Instagram stories on there. The Crash 8, I love flying on that thing. Getting quite used to catching that flight now. And they'll be in my base this afternoon. I'm actually on standby tomorrow, but as I said, if you're new here, I try to post as much content as I can. Lots of useful information. So on Instagram, you know, I'll try and put some pictures in from work. Try and explain some aircraft systems. So yeah, keep a lookout on that, and you can give me a follow there if you so wish. ATR 371 Captain, will you try the Max in the future? I know there is a Max available from... I don't know much about this. I only work with ZIBO. I'm not involved with the what's the other thing called? I literally don't even know what it's called. I know there's some dodgy version of Max going around. Just seeing a few posts online. There's some copyrighted issue. Again, nothing to do with me. I don't do anything to do with that. I just test the 800 ZIBO mod for ZIBO, talk to him directly, and provide him the feedback. Chromag S coming in with a membership. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel and for directly supporting me. For that, you'll get your Discord members only Discord invites automatically, and I'll catch up with you later. Thank you very much for the direct support there. Brendan, does your airline pay for your commute? No, they don't. Unfortunately, I have to save a lot of money, but no, it's just part and parcel with the airline I work for. We're a large European airline. I've got a few bases, a lot of bases in the UK. I'm very fortunate to be in the UK. I could be based elsewhere, and it's your job to get yourself there, off and on. If they send you out of base, though, somewhere that's not your base, they pay for all accommodation, transportation, and expenses, as most airlines do. Again, I'm not going to go into super detail about that. I'm here to show you how to fly a 737. Pedro, hello from Lisbon, Portugal. Great videos. Bon dia to you. Thank you very much. So, the mod is, again, behaving absolutely fantastically. Idle path descent, look, I've got winds as well, and it's just nailed on the speed there. And again, guys, sometimes the speed can detract slightly from the real aircraft. It's unusual, it's usually very, very good. And you can see, look, the speed's bugged back to 250 below 100. Now, one thing it should do, it shouldn't just go straight to this bug speed. It should the magenta bug here should slowly go backwards towards the target speed. It doesn't just update straight away like that, but it's a very minor thing there. And there's I don't know why there's a decel point there, not sure. Anyway, we've got an aircraft right behind us. He's probably going into the same destination. If we can see him. Oh no! I hope he's not here to spam us. Oh dear. If he does, I'll just go straight off, guys. I think it's the KLM guy. But that will certainly be an issue with spacing, with air traffic control. They wouldn't be too pleased that someone was, I think, less than 1 statute mile behind. Quite surprised. Not come up on TCAS, so he has 1,700 feet below. He is less than 5 miles away. Lovely. Janice Bennett, hey, I live in Riga, lol. Thank you very much, Janice, for that. Yes, we're saying hello to the virtual Riga today. Right, so passing 170 can do the post-cruise checks. Fuel's good, lights on, AP is off, pressurization is all set, 4.6 diff. Looking good. Recall, checks complete. We've got 3.2 tons on board. Our alternate cowness requires 2.5, so again we have enough for an approach go around and then decide whether to commit to Riga or divert to Kaunas. Alexius, brace for spam. Yeah, we'll see. It's been a while. I think a lot's been done to prevent stuff like that, but you never know. I just take a simple attitude. Doesn't bother me. If there's any issue, I just log off that sim. You still get to watch a 73 captain at least attempt to fly the real aircraft somewhat correctly. Right. So here we are on the star, nice and simple, and we are routing direct to Lusok, and we'll imagine we've now been cleared to 2,500 feet, which I think was the platform, and the QNH is 1011, so we'll punch that into the MCP. That is set QNH 1011, passing 8,200, 2,500 feet, and the standby altimeter is now set. So one thing, again, I don't know if it's an explain issue, it's very late identifying nav aids. You know, we are now, how many miles away? We're 25 miles from Riga. I've got the ILS tuned, haven't I? Yeah, 111.1. 111.1, and it's not identing. You definitely get the ident. Well, in this direction, yes. Sometimes the ident takes some time, but the DME distance usually comes in at least 50 miles away, so you'd have that there. But it's quite late getting the idents sometimes. ATR 371, have you diverted in real life? Yes, several times. Not as a captain yet. I'm still diversion free at the moment. After 6-7 months, everything's fallen into place. But certainly, as an FO, I'd say at least half a dozen times I've diverted. Avex, do you have you ever flown an Airbus in the sim? Like we have. We did a stream about 3 or 4 streams ago in the Tallinn A319. It was quite a laugh. So yeah, it'll be in my Canada 737 Captain Fly A playlist. We're going to do lots of aircraft in time, so that's it. So again, we're just missing that decel point, but it is correctly slowing down now for the approach. I really think we're maybe a tad high, but trust ZIBO and his VNAV. Oh, actually pretty good, 20, 40, 60. So far, so good. I know ZIBO's just, I can't stress it. Like, the work he's done for VNAV and the FMC is incredible. Like, what would I say is missing from the aircraft now? I'd say it's basically the FMC just needs fine-tuning to make sure all the pages are correct. VNAV, just a little bit of tweaking, and certainly how the PFD and ND responds to information in the VNAV. That's pretty much it. It's, can I put a percentage on it? I'd say 97, 96%. I really, it's so good. I hope it. I like to think that ZIBO's never going to be complete. You should always be tweaking and fine-tuning it. You know, sometimes there's a few things like an update that X-Plane does, which throws everything to a miss. For example, I updated to the beta X-Plane 11, which completely stopped all taxiing working, so we had to adjust that and fix that. But so far, so good. The mod is correctly working. Steve M, one of my members, he's also bought a classic pullover hoodie. Oh, Steve, legend. I hope you're feeling well as well, mate. Drop me a message on Discord. But thank you very much for the purchase and directly supporting the channel again. That's very, very kind. I can't wait to see some of this stuff. I hope the quality's good. Like I said, this Teespring thing, you have no involvement with it. They manufacture, dispatch, deal with returns, and for that, you know, they charge that amount of money. I get a small return on that, you know, to say thanks. So I do provide all that support. I hope it is of a good quality. I've got the mug myself. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with how the mug looks there. But yeah, look at this. The mod, brilliant. Bang on VNAV profile is exactly where I'd expect it to be on the ice. It's flawless, really. Right, I'm going to select flap 1. We'll leave VNAV speed open so it stays the VNAV path now because we're on approach logic. Brilliant. So far, so good. So this stream's been brilliant. I've had no tech issues. Landing's been good. Well, landing, we haven't finished quite yet, but we'll see how it is. Flap 5. The mod has just been incredible. It's been a while since I've actually flown it. There's the localizer coming alive, so we can arm Vorlock. We got the ident eventually there. Yeah, this is exactly what the aircraft does. It is spot on now. Spot on. Right, localizer alive, localizer capture, runway heading. We can now set 178. Expect the aircraft to start turning soon to capture that localizer. It's doing a little bit of a late turn. Is it going to start turning right? There we go. We can arm the approach as well. We're a little bit above the glide slope, so all I'm going to do is go vertical. Oh no, we just captured it anyway. So glide slope capture. Missed approach altitude 2,500 feet is set. Drag required. Yeah, it was probably earlier, but we're now coming back quite nicely to the flap 5 speed. Private messaging. I had to slow down and send at the same time, so I wouldn't have a collision with you. Sorry, I'm kind of new. No worries, no worries. At least you're not someone that's trying to fly into me like we occasionally get. I hope you got to slow down sufficiently. But no worries at all, my friends. We all got to start somewhere. You're still pretty low, if I'm honest. I'd probably get you to do some sort of orbit. At least we did a cracking CDA. Alright, I don't know, guys. Right, we might leave it just for the lols, but we'll see. Oh, look, there's an oil rig out there. I think that'll be somewhere to take a helicopter soon. Alright. It's up to you. I'll let you decide in the chat what I need to do. But if he starts landing on top of me, I'd suggest you do an orbit KLM 1975. That's certainly what would happen in reality. Oh my goodness me! I'm going to descend right on top of you. Yeah, please do an orbit. I'm just gonna log off, guys. Sorry. It's just easy. I don't want that thing screaming in my face the whole way. Sorry. Oh dear. Oh, please don't. Yeah, there we go. He's disappeared off the face of the earth. Fantastic. Right, guys, so you guys want to see a raw data. So what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to match my thrust up here. Let's disconnect everything. Turn off the flight directors. And I'm going to try my absolute best to configure the aircraft. Start switching. I'm going to do a bit of it now so it's all set up. There we go. Right, so how do you fly raw data ILS? Again, I've done this a few times. Really important to use the ND here. Thankfully... Terrain noted. Thankfully, there's no a real crosswind. The wind's quite straight down there, and it's really important you look at the PFD primarily. This is all the information you have here. So I pretty much, because it's such smooth conditions, I have to make very few inputs here. You know, we're on the localizer, drifting slightly to the right, so just a tiny left input. You can use the ND to scan here. We're aiming to be an attitude of about 1.5, 1 degree, no higher than that, just to stay on the ILS, and then we'll configure at about 5 miles today. Now, because it's disconnected, it's perfectly in trim, I've had to make very, very few inputs there. So I'm continuously scanning. The PFD is the key thing here. Bring the thrust into your scan as well, the ND. Keep looking. Just like a slight left turn, you can see the localizers drifting. We know the runway QDM is 178, so if I go to less than that, track about 176, the localizer will come back to us. It's just about making those tiny inputs. Speed's good. I'll start configuring now, a little bit earlier than I would, but I'm flying more data. So get down flat 15, match speed. There's a little balloon from the aircraft, so you'll need to pitch down to allow for that. Landing check is flaps, so start switch is continuous, recall checked. Speed brake armed, green light. Landing gears down, 3 green order brakes set, holding flaps, so just watch my rate of descent there. We'll now select flap 30, match speed. VRF plus, what's the final wind actually? It's probably a little bit stronger than... that is, it's 17 knots, so we'll add a couple more knots to VREF there, so we'll fly about 149. So tad low, just pitch up slightly, so flaps are good. Adding thrust now to maintain our final approach speed, about 149, 150 knots. So a little bit low on the glide slope, so just pitch up slightly, don't make too crazy corrections. A little bit left of localizer, about 500 feet per minute, it's a nice rate to recapture the glide slope.
1,000.
So 850 is a little bit too high. Adding the thrust though. As I pitch up, we lose speed, so we have to add thrust. It's a little bit backwards to flying a light aircraft there. There we go. So coming back onto the glide slope, and as soon as we're back on, we'll return to our target attitude of about 1 degree and about 57-60%. So there's the glide slope coming in. This is brilliant. This is where the mod, and I've said this again, and you must get tired of me saying it, but it is just brilliant. The thrust input and inputs I'm making now are just spot on. Like target thrust, brilliant, just brilliant. Right, on the glide slope, on the localizer, target speed is good. Thrust is back to around my target, around 57-60%. 2 reds, 2 whites, just the very small inputs. Keep scanning that localizer and glide slope PFD. Slight crosswind, not much. Wind's pretty much down the runway. 500 continue for PM, just getting a tad low, not too worried about that, just pitch up ever so slightly, get back onto the glide, there we go. And now I'm really concentrating outside now, I'm not really looking inside, just occasionally looking inside to glance at the speed, localize. Now I'm looking outside pretty much all the time, just the occasional glance inside. Alright, 2 reds, 2 whites, actually probably 3 whites, not sure. Continue, speed's good, vertical profile's good, now I'm only looking outside, over the threshold at 50 feet.
50, 40. 30,
check,
20,
close,
10.
hold, might be firm. Oh, very firm, sorry guys. Speed breaks up. Oh dear, reverses. Hey, that's how we land on a short runway, huh? That's exactly how we land on a short runway. Right, reverse is normal, 100%. Definitely take the auto brake out, or bring it to idle reverse. Whoever suggested auto brake 2, that was certainly a better suggestion, but I didn't intend to plant it on the numbers as much as that. There we go. And we'll just let the aircraft roll to vacate at the exit. That's definitely worth a replay. Boom. I reckon 400, 350 maybe. Oof, Finn Bethel says. Oh well. And now we can vacate here, the exit. Cancelling reverse. Tim Skipper, I dropped my flight detector sim bug and broke it. I love it, the banter, I love it. Master caution. Outstanding work. Oh dear, it's been a while since we've had a thumper. Well, actually, not discounting the 200 stream last time. There we go, no butter, brilliant. Well done, Kim. Vacating in Charlie. Oh my goodness. There we go, where we started at least. In one piece, pretty much. Right, transponder to LTOF. Trim to 4 units. There we go. And we'll just go to the exact stand we started on. Jeez. Probe off. There we go. Taxi and flow's complete. That's done by the first officer. I'm still impressed I know it. Right, there we go, taxiing on to stand. So yeah, that was a raw data approach. So you see there, my check was a little... aggressive's not the right word. I didn't check enough, but one thing I did incorrectly, and I remember doing it, I took the thrust off. I took the thrust off before the check. Now, if you do that in the real aircraft, the aircraft kind of responds like that as well. If you remove the thrust, it loses a lot of that ground effect. So that technique I told you, check, close, hold, it's important to do that in order. For some reason I closed the thrust and then checked, which is why the aircraft had quite a strong sink rate. Didn't really have any thrust to reduce that rate of descent there. So you notice that I closed the thrust first, which is you don't want to do in the 7.3. It's quite unforgiving if you do that, and it'll really just when you check it, just rotates around its axis and doesn't really reduce much rate of descent. So that's probably the main reason why there. What was the actual landing rate there? I didn't actually see it come up there. No, was it 429? I guess that's pretty high. Let's get the APU up and running. And we'll go on the exact stand we started. The dog's looking at me like he wants to go for a quick walk, which I will do before I go. Tobias Lost, what do you say in real life after a hard landing? Like, whoopsie, yeah, I suppose. Or kind of like a sarcastic, way. That's what we do. Right, so there we go. Hello, buddy. Hello, hello, hello. He's like he knows when I'm finishing the live stream. He's like, are you done yet? Good boy. Alright, alright. There we go. So we'll just make that right turn. Where is the taxi line? I can't actually see it. You'd usually have a marshal. There it is. There we go. Stand 108. There we go. Perfectly. Even the dog knew you had a rough one. Absolutely regal. He came in here to take the mic. Flight Sim 106. You have work today? No, but I'm positioning for work later on. I think it'll be asking quite a lot to do a stream and then go to work. These are quite tiring. Right, turn off and taxi off. APU's up and running. And again, yes, you would have a marshal here to help guide you on to stand, most likely. There we go. Beauty of Flight Sim. I wish I could do that in reality. There we are. Nice, that would do nicely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riga. So, parking brake is set, 2 blues. Actually, I won't do that because I know on the replay you get the GPU stuck, so I won't do that. I won't put the air stairs there either, so I'll leave the APU running. Usually leave one fuel pump on for that. So APU, window heat is off as well. Electric hydraulic pumps off. And anti-collision light off as well. And that's the kind of shutdown flow there, so that's it. Guys, welcome to Riga. Thank you very much for turning up for the live stream. That was very enjoyable. 2 kind of short sectors. You got to see a visual approach and a raw data, so something else you could perhaps practice in your desktop simulator. I will just now log off of... Oh no, we already did that because we had someone trying to fly underneath us there. Project overfly off, and then I can click on here, complete flight. Complete flight, complete. There we go. Landing rate, what was it then? It comes up on here. 429 feet per minute. Outstanding work. At least that puts the gear back in its place anyway. So that's it. Right, so what I'll do now... so yeah, as I said, we've done the shutdown flow. We now wait for all the passengers to disembark. Once all the passengers are off, we do the secure checklist. So for that, IRS off, trim air off, air conditioning packs to off. APU, you'd shut down because you probably have the ground power there. So what you do is you trip the ground power. Why is there no light there? Oh no, because it's got the APU running. I'm being stupid. You move the APU off like that, and then you'd wait kind of a couple of minutes for the APU to shut down, and then you just switch the battery off. That's it. But I'm not going to do that because if you do, it causes issues with the replay. Actually, on the real aircraft, I need to tell ZIBO there, if you're quick, you can actually get the APU back on before it starts again, so that's a bit of a glitch there. But yeah, we'll leave it on the battery for the replay. Right, so that is it. Plugins, flight, replays all are, and that is it. We'll cue the end music as well. So let's have a look at that landing, because it certainly wasn't the greatest, but anyway, as we always say, especially in Boeing aircraft, any landing you can walk away is a good one. Right. Let's actually see how bad it was anyway. So we'll go back to the threshold. Oh, I never want to see that on the approach, flipping out. To the threshold view. Let's see what's going on here. So, no excuses really. It was my poor technique there. As I said, I closed the thrust lever before checking, which is why it was quite an aggressive touchdown. Certainly safe. It was not an issue really. Fantastic. Over the threshold then. I closed the thrust there. You see, when I went to check, it just didn't slow down much, just a tiny bit. So yeah, it doesn't look as bad actually in X-Plane 11 as it probably would have felt in reality. Let's have a look abeam where we actually touched down. It doesn't look too bad from there. There we go. Let's look at the deceleration as well, because the sounds are awesome. Wicked, guys. There we go. Fantastic. Alright then, so we'll leave it there. I'll pop you in a nice little wing view for enjoying the scene. Actually, someone asked, could they have a view from the... Oh no, I forgot to log off VATSIM. Did I log back on VATSIM? No, it's still there. Someone asked for the wing view here, so what I'll do, I'll just put on slow replay mode. I'll get yourself so you can enjoy a nice rear wing view for a change. Someone's requested. Then you can see it from there, and then I'll sign out. There you go. Alright, so guys, as always, thank you very much for turning up to another Flight Deck Sim live stream. I do appreciate the support. Thank you for everyone that turned up as signed up as a member and bought the merchandise. As I said, the merchandise. Oh, how do I get the replay up? Sorry, because I don't want to control. Oh, there we go. Don't want to do slow motion all the way. There we go. Thank you for everyone that purchased the merchandise. I really do appreciate all the support I get for the work. Next live stream, who knows? Probably not going to be on my next set of days off. I do have some news coming up in a couple of months' time, though, regarding upcoming Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I'm going to leave it at that, leave you pondering. I can't say any more than that, just to keep you all excited nonetheless. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you all again very soon. Bye.